Chapter 462. My dear viewers, you guys have no idea how dangerous the situation was today. Bai Wuxia's words piqued the curiosity of the netizens who were watching the live stream. So, what exactly happened today? I have seen director Zhu's Weibo post about Sister E saving the damsel in distress. Who did Sister E save? I'm dying of curiosity. Teacher Bai, hurry up and tell me. Director Zhu's expression changed slightly, and he picked up his glass. Come on, Teacher Bai, let's toast. He deliberately changed the topic, but Bai Wuxia was determined to take credit and hence clinked glasses with him perfunctorily. While Xianxia went to make goat milk powder for Xiao Naofu, he continued to narrate, Our filming location in the afternoon is on the mountain. Who would have thought that there would be a fugitive hiding in the mountains? I heard that he has been wanted for a long time, and he's a serial killer who specifically targets women. However, Xiao Su ran into him, and the situation was critical at that time. Little Su had been dragged away. Fortunately, she was quick-witted and called for help loudly. As soon as I heard her voice, I immediately rushed over. I thought that since Xiao Su is a girl, it's only right for a man to protect a woman, isn't it? Besides, I'm old and Xiao Su and the others are like my children in my eyes. Of course, I have to protect them from harm. The atmosphere at the dining table was extremely strange. Junhan was so embarrassed that he kept digging his toes into the ground. The other artistes involved in the filming looked at each other in dismay. Su Tumi was reminded of those painful memories, and she subconsciously bit her lower lip while her hand that was holding the chopsticks trembled. She put down her chopsticks and gripped the hem of her clothes so tightly that her veins were popping out. They were particularly obvious on her fair skin. The negative emotions were overwhelming and pressing down on him. Sutumi thought that she had already gotten over it, but in fact, she hadn't. She was like a drowning person who Xianxia brought to the surface of the water to take a breath of fresh air. After a short moment of salvation, she was forcefully pressed back into the water. There were more comments in the live stream. Oh my God, reality is more exciting than television dramas. Teacher Bai is so nice. If only I could have a senior like him. Hey, Su Tumi was dragged away? Then could she have already been... Seriously, Su Tumi, Teacher Bai saved her. Isn't she going to thank him for saving her life? He was even fawning over Xianxia. Was it because he wanted to play with whoever was popular? If Teacher Bai isn't popular now, could it be that she doesn't even care about him? Bai Wuxia then used the spring and autumn style and the art of language to secretly change the concept and add fuel to the fire. He bragged about himself and even made a concluding speech. Humans are humans because we are different from cold-blooded animals. We have warmth and feelings. When you see others suffering, if you can help them, then help them. People love all living things, and all living things love each other. For a moment, many netizens felt that he had a halo behind him. The comments section praised him to the skies. Teacher Bai, awesome. Well said. She's the clear stream of the entertainment industry. To be honest, Bai Wuxia's words are really good. It's not just pure kindness. In a sense, it has risen to the level of ethics, morality, and even religion. It's a whole other world. He's an idealist and an ascetic in life. Unfortunately, such an artist isn't popular. Instead, a pretty face like Xianxia is. It's simply intolerable. Chapter 463. Some netizens express their dissatisfaction. Sometimes, people only believe what they saw and heard. They believe the information that came in from the outside world without thinking about it. At this moment, everyone felt that Bai Wuxia's image was extremely high and mighty. As for Xianxia's injury in order to save Su Tumi, it seemed to have become a trivial matter. Junhan and the others were too embarrassed to expose Bai Wuxia. Su Tumi was in a terrible emotional state and couldn't even utter a single syllable. Shi Sui happened to be absent too, and little Shiji bit her pants and called her to watch them display their affection. By a freak combination of factors, Bai Wuxia actually succeeded in pretending to be cool. Even Li Jinyu was fooled into a daze. Director Zhu, who was beside him, had a sullen expression on his face. Others might not know the details, but he saw it clearly in the director's office. Bai Wuxia didn't save Su Tumi at all. He left her in the lurch right from the beginning. It would be fine if he didn't save her, but how could he have the cheek to take all the credit and even use this matter to create hype? Bai Wuxia's face was flushed with success. Little did he know that in Director Zhu's heart, he had already been blacklisted. Little Su, have some warm soup to warm your stomach. Bai Wuxia took the initiative to scoop a bowl of chicken soup and handed it to Su Tumi. Although the chicken was handled by someone else, Xianxia was the one who added the spices. She stewed it in the pot for 2 hours and the aroma was overwhelming. Before taking out a pot, she skimmed off the oil and sprinkled a little salt on it. A sip of the soup was enough to make one sigh in satisfaction. Previously, Xianxia scooped 2 bowls of soup for Su Tumi, who drank all of them. However, when she saw the soup that Bai Wuxia scooped for her, Su Tumi felt nauseous and somehow thought that Bai Wuxia's face was that of the fugitive. She retched and left the banquet in a disheveled state. At this moment, there was an uproar in the live stream. Isn't she too rude? Teacher Bai scooped soup for her, but not only is she not grateful, she even pretended to vomit. Wow, it's no wonder she's the vase fairy's friend. Birds of a feather flock together. Annoying people play with annoying people. Awesome. Bai Wuxia pretended to smooth things over for Su Tumi and said, "Ah, little Su probably hasn't gotten used to it yet. Girls will definitely take a long time to get over such things." There was a huge wave of comments praising him for his gentleness, meticulousness, and high EQ. Junhan couldn't help but retort, "Senior, can you not mention this matter in front of big sister Tumi? Every time you mention it, you're hurting her." Bai Wuxia was a little embarrassed. He acted like a life mentor and said, Am I not doing this for her own good? No matter what happened, one had to face it bravely. Only by daring to face hardships can one truly walk out of the shadows. How can you just think about running away? His ability to pour out chicken soup was top-notch. How could Junhan win against him in an argument? He was rendered speechless and could only sulk. All of a sudden, a clear and indifferent voice slowly rang out. Is there a rule that says you can't escape? Everyone looked over in unison. Under the blazing bright lights, the girl stood there quietly with the cat in her arms. Bai Wuxia felt guilty and didn't speak as confidently as before. Well, it makes sense. It does make sense, but there are differences between individuals. Why can't we escape? It's not shameful or ridiculous to escape. It's just a right to choose. Chapter 464. Bai Wuxia tried to use chicken soup to defeat Xianxia. Little Xiang, if everyone thinks like you, wouldn't society be in a mess? It's like if all women are dink and don't have children, wouldn't the human race be extinct? Therefore, people must be strong and not weak. When the heavens are about to give a great responsibility to a person, they must first suffer. Sorry, Senior, I can't agree with your point of view. First of all, reproduction is not a necessary social obligation for women. Forcing it on women is a manifestation of gender discrimination. Second, people have different personalities. It's good to be extroverted, but it doesn't mean that introverted people have to be extroverted. Similarly, I'm not denying the positive meaning of being strong. I just think that there is a limit to how much people can bear. If it's painful enough, why should we be strong? What's the big deal about running away or even crying? Senior, do you think this is something worth laughing at? Xianxia interrupted him, which made Bai Wuxia feel incredulous. He was a senior. Xianxia was just a junior. How could she interrupt him? Bai Wuxia was indeed popular when he was young. Later, his acting skills did not improve. His acting skills became routines and templates, and gradually, he had fewer and fewer acting roles. However, he was still a senior. Now that he was older, he would be respectfully called a senior wherever he went. Being questioned by Xianxia, Bai Wuxia was furious and unconsciously put on airs. What do you know? You're just a little girl. You've only studied for a few days, yet you dare to criticize others? Xianxia did not react violently when she heard this. She said calmly, Since Senior insists on his point of view, then I think we have nothing to say. Communication was first established on a basis that the two must be on the same channel. If it was a cross-server chat, then it would be meaningless. Xianxia had never forced others to agree with her character. In the live broadcast room, Xianxi's simple words made countless people fall silent. Yes, from childhood to adulthood, no matter what hardships they encountered, they always heard that they had to face it and overcome it. But today, they heard a different kind of voice. It turned out that running away was not shameful, and being weak was not wrong. Many people in front of the screen had a flicker of light in their eyes, revealing a trace of confusion. There was spicy tutu, but something interesting happened. Wuxia seems to have dropped out of middle school. Where did he get the guts to be so fierce to Sister E? Sister E graduated from one of the top 2 universities in the country. I'm dying of laughter. Does the internet really have no memory? Back then, Teacher Bai kept saying that he was going to win the Nobel Prize for acting. At that time, he was ridiculed by the crowd. My boss is exactly the same as Bai Wuxia. You talk to him about money, he talks to you about life, you talk to him about life, and he talks to you about overtime. At the same time, he also talks about how the wolf culture 996 is good for young people. Everyone, wake up. This kind of person doesn't want to impart any wisdom of life to you at all. He's just using the form of preaching to satisfy his own selfish desires. The atmosphere at the table was very tense. Bai Wuxia put on airs. He thought that even if Xianxia apologized to him, he would show her who was the boss. He wanted her to know that she had to follow the rules when dealing with her seniors. Unexpectedly, Xianxia ignored him and turned her head to ask Junhan, who was beside her, "Where's Su Tumi?" Junhan was stunned. "She seems to have gone to the bathroom." "Thank you." Xianxia nodded and picked up the tissue box and small blanket at the side. "I'll go accompany her." Chapter 465. The young girl's tone was natural and casual, but it made Junhan's heart race. It wasn't the kind of heartbeat that came from love. Using his poor vocabulary to describe it, the most intuitive feeling he had was he was moved by her gentleness. Junhan suddenly understood why so many people liked Xianxia. The so-called popularity with the audience was actually not metaphysics, but rather it was just because that person had a unique personality and charisma. In the bathroom, Sutumi sat on the ground and swiped the screen of her cell phone with trembling fingers. She had lived to the age of 22 and had always been the center of attention. She lived a peaceful life and was always successful in everything she did. Even her entry into the entertainment industry was smooth sailing, and her fans treated her like a princess. It was the first time she had come into contact with online violence that was even more terrifying than being called a baldy. Who told you to wear so little? Serves you right. Did they really do that to you? TSK, it's so dirty. Why did they pick on you instead of others? There must be a reason. I really can't stand your aggrieved expression. You must be very regretful that the other party didn't succeed. Wow, Sutumi, you're actually still in the mood to eat. If I were you, I'd take 10 showers in the bathtub. Through the screen, she had no idea who the person opposite her was, but she could feel the malice. The more she saw, the redder Sutumi's eyes became. Is it really my fault? Is it because I'm wearing too little, because there's something wrong with me, and because I'm not a perfect victim? Knock, knock. Someone knocked on the door. Immediately afterwards, Xianxia asked in a gentle voice, Sutumi, are you okay? Whoosh! Sutumi covered her mouth as tears rolled down her cheeks. It was so hot that the back of her hand hurt. She sobbed and said, Don't come in. I'm just going to the bathroom. As she spoke, she pressed the switch of the faucet, after which the sound of running water filled the air. Xianxia stayed silent for a few seconds and said, Okay, I'm not going in. I'll be right outside the door. I can chat with you or stay silent. Sutumi heard a sound coming from behind the door. It seemed that Xianxia had sat down. A door separated the two of them. They were very close to each other. One of them spoke clumsily, while the other was gentle and didn't expose her. I just wanted to tell you that I'm here. Hearing this, Sutumi couldn't help but burst into tears. Wow, you're so annoying. I hate you, Xianxia. Then, sorry. Xianxia was a little helpless. I just feel that when you're sad, you'll feel even worse if there's no one by your side. Because she had experienced it before, she didn't want Sutumi to experience it again. If you don't like it, I'll leave now. I'll leave the tissue box and blanket here. If you need them, you can open the door and take them. I won't let anyone disturb you." Before he could finish, Su Tumi opened the door and wailed miserably. "You're not allowed to leave." Xianxia said softly, "Okay, I won't leave. I don't really hate you." Su Tumi cried until the tip of her nose was red. "What I hate is the chicken soup that by guy mentioned. I also hate myself for crying. If you don't like his chicken soup, do you want another bowl of my chicken soup?" Xianxia asked with a smile. Su Tumi pursed her lips and cried until her shoulders shook. "He's already touched it. He's tainted the pot of chicken soup." Xianxia said, "It's okay. There's still half a pot. I'll get you a spoon. You can drink from the pot." Su Tumi suddenly felt much better. Chapter 466. In the small kitchen, the firewood in the stove was still warm. Even though so much time had passed, the chicken soup was still piping hot. Su Tumi held the large spoon that Xianxia gave her and blew on it before gulping it down. It was so delicious that she clenched her fists tightly. Before cooking, the oily parts of the old hen were removed and freshly picked mushrooms were added to absorb the oil. Hence, it wasn't greasy at all. The red dates and wolfberries not only gave the chicken soup a bright color, but also added just the right amount of sweetness. After drinking the soup, she took a sip of the mushrooms that were filled with the rich chicken soup. It was as if fireworks had exploded in her head and all her feelings were summed up in 2 words. So fragrant. It's so fragrant. It's so fragrant. Su Tumi's eyes were watery, perhaps because of the heat of the pot or because she was touched. As for the poisonous chicken soup that by Wuxia mentioned, she had completely forgotten about it. By Wuxia? Who is he? Is it important? His words are nothing. Sister Yi's chicken soup is the best. Without Xianxia and Su Tumi around, the atmosphere at the dining table became even stranger. Bai Wuxia couldn't take it anymore, and hence, he spoke loudly again, trying to belittle Xianxia to prove that he was right. Confucius said that fathers and sons are related, monarchs and ministers are righteous, husband and wife are different, elders and children are orderly, and friends are trustworthy. It seemed that the rules of seniority had been completely forgotten by the youngsters. They don't even have the minimum respect for their elders. How ridiculous! He had always liked to quote from classics and often considered himself a cultured person because many artists in the entertainment industry had low academic qualifications. Many small-time artists didn't dare to say anything after being rebuked by him. Instead, they would feel ashamed because they were too ignorant. To his surprise, Junhan retorted, "Mencius was the one who said that, right?" Bai Wuxiao was a little embarrassed, and he pretended to be angry. "What do you know? How dare you refute your senior, just because you've read a few books?" Junhan was speechless. "I studied Chinese for my undergraduate degree, so I still have some knowledge about literature." "Senior, do you think I can't even read?" All of a sudden, the comments in the live stream were divided. "I just checked. It's indeed a quote from Mencius, but Junhan seems to have no EQ by pointing it out like this. What's wrong with our Han pointing out seniors' mistakes? What era is it now? You're still abiding by those feudal dregs." While the netizens were arguing ferociously, Shi Sui returned after feeding little Shiji. Bai Wuxia tried to get him to take a side and repeated what had happened just now. At that time, he had chosen the aspects that were beneficial to him. In the end, he said vehemently, "Tell me, shouldn't we listen to Confucius? Am I right?" Shi Sui said indifferently, "Anyway, I know that Zhou Shuren didn't say that." Bai Wuxia, he had no idea why Shi Sui would mention this person, so he asked subconsciously, "Is Zhou Shuren?" In an instant, the other people at the table tried their best to hold back their laughter. The live stream became a sea of joy. "Haha, Shi Sui is so sarcastic. If you know how to talk, then talk more. Where can I buy your works?" Is there anyone who doesn't know that Bai Wuxia has been pretending to be an intellectual all these years? Amidst the awkwardness, Junhan said excitedly, "I know how to answer this question." Using the tone of a primary school student reading aloud, he said, "Zhou Shuren, a famous writer and thinker, Lu Sun." Chapter 467. When he heard the name Lu Sun, Bai Wuxia was stunned, as if he had been struck by lightning. What? The netizens in the live stream were already mocking her. Han Han, are you a primary school chicken? What the hell is with the tone of this poem recitation? I'm going to laugh my head off. First, she said that Mencius was Confucius, and now she doesn't know that Zhou Shuren is Lu Sun. Bai Wuxia is the truly uncultured one. Let me give you a few examples. Sister E is from a top-2 university. Su Tumi is from the capital city drama academy. Junhan School is a little worse, but it's still a top-tier university. Although Shi Sui didn't go to university, she was the top scholar of the college entrance examination back then. Bai Wuxia is the only one who didn't finish junior high school. After a round of comparison, everyone seemed to have woken up from a dream and came to a sudden realization. It turned out that Bai Wuxia was the one with the lowest educational background among the people at the table. Of course, it didn't matter if he had a low education. The tolerance of modern society was still very high. However, Bai Wuxia's usual image was that of an intellectual. This time, it could be said that his image had collapsed, and it had collapsed completely. Bai Wuxia came to his senses and flew into a rage out of humiliation. Shi Sui must have done it on purpose. Otherwise, why didn't he directly mention Lu Sun, but Zhou Shuren? Wasn't this deliberately making things difficult for him? After cursing Shi Sui's 18 generations of ancestors in his heart, he pretended that nothing had happened on the surface. He laughed and said, I'm getting old. My memory is getting worse. I'm not like you young people, who can remember it just by reciting it. Everyone, it would be a pity if you didn't use your face to cover the city walls. Director Zhu was even more embarrassed. He felt that he had lost too much face in front of Li Jinyu. Thinking about how Xianxia had suffered such a serious injury in order to save someone, and now she was disgusted by this kind of person, she couldn't help but want to compensate Li Jinyu. So she said, I heard that your overseas version hasn't passed the review yet. Li Jinyu said thoughtlessly, it seems to be going through the process. There's no rush. I'm already very satisfied that it can be broadcasted locally. Director Zhu's heart was as clear as a mirror. He said he was going through the process, but who knew what step he was stuck at? There were definitely people who didn't want two under one roof to become popular abroad. He pondered for 2 seconds and said, I'll help you ask around. Maybe your overseas version will be broadcast earlier. Li Jinyu was dumbfounded. There's such a good thing? Was he some kind of European emperor? Why did it not only fall from the sky, but also into his mouth every time? In order to cover up his previous mistakes, Bai Wuxia kept feeding him chicken soup more frequently. He was like a walking life mentor, spreading the truth wherever he went. However, there was a saying in this world, the more you talk, the more mistakes you make. If it was a recorded broadcast, then there was still a chance for post-production editing to remedy the situation. Unfortunately, today was a joint event between National Citizen and Two Under One Roof that was being broadcasted live. He originally had a group of hipster and bourgeois fans who had specially come to watch the live broadcast to support him. But when they heard Bai Wuxia's chicken soup that was full of flaws, they were really confused. Does Bai Wuxia have real skills? Why does it sound so weird? Shi Sui didn't say anything, but she raised her eyebrows slightly when he mentioned Xianxia. Why is there a saying in ancient times that men are in charge of external affairs and women are in charge of internal affairs? Of course it makes sense. I can't stand Xianxia's flamboyant personality. She's a girl, after all. She should just stay at home and do the laundry and cook. Who would like her to show up in public like a man? Chapter 468. In the live stream. What kind of confusing statement is this? Why does Bai Wuxia look like he's been bewitched? How dare he sow discord in front of the wife-protecting demon? Welcome to the live broadcast. The more Bai Wuxia spoke, the more enthusiastic he became. During the recording of the show, she's so keen on being in the limelight. She loves to show off. In everything, going too far is as bad as falling short. Besides, she has no respect for her elders and doesn't take her seniors seriously. In the next second, Shi Sui said indifferently, in Sister Yi's eyes, there's the sea of stars, the tranquility of life, flowers, grass, chickens, ducks, pigs, and geese, but there's no trash. Whoosh! Bai Wuxia's expression froze, and then he looked at Shi Sui as if he had seen a ghost. The others at the dining table were speechless. Junhan clenched his fists in excitement. As expected of Shi Sui, he's awesome. Bai Wuxia gritted his teeth. Shi Sui, what do you mean? Nothing. Shi Sui smiled faintly. Her temperament was gentle, and her tone could even be considered gentle, but her eyes were indifferent. I just feel that Sister E is such a good girl, yet she's being criticized by some people who don't know what she is. I just feel that it's ridiculous and ridiculous. Bai Wuxia was about to explode in anger. After all, he had been popular before. Yet, Shi Sui actually said that he was someone who doesn't know what kind of person he is. This was simply worse than being slapped in public. In the director's office, Li Jinyu was dumbfounded, and so was Director Zhu next to him. No one expected Shi Sui to rebuke someone. Ruan Qing, on the other hand, crossed her arms and seemed to be deep in thought. Is she defending her sovereignty? All along, Shi Sui and Xianxi's relationship during the live stream had always been indifferent. The two of them didn't communicate much, but they gave off a comfortable vibe. However, things were different today. Shi Sui was showing his possessiveness toward Xianxi. Ruan Qing curled her lips and clicked on Untimely Fashion's chat. She then slowly posted on Weibo. I'm serious. In a live stream, the bullet screen had already exploded. There were so many people's faces could not be seen clearly. Assuringdi is so strong. Voice breaking. Shi Sui doesn't care about anything else, but when you mention Sister E, she immediately switches into battle mode. Love. Bai Wuxia is really something. Of all people, he just had to go against Sister E. Isn't he just asking for trouble? Who said no one loves Sister E? Where's Spicy Tutu? Let me see your hands. It's the new year. It's the new year. Everyone, quickly think of a good location for the untimely wedding. How's the beach? The number of online viewers of Two Under One Roof had also reached an astonishing number, attracting the jealousy of countless peers. Recently, there have been a lot of people following the trend and doing live broadcast variety shows. However, no matter how hard they tried, they could only imitate and not surpass it. Nowadays, there are only a handful of people who could surpass 1 million online viewers. On the other hand, Two Under One Roof easily made millions of yuan. Tonight, it had soared to more than 9 million viewers. This figure made many people in the entertainment industry fall into deep thought. Why is only Two Under One Roof so popular? Where's its magic? Seeing that Bai Wuxia was about to flip the table, the doorbell of the living room suddenly rang. In order to ease the tense atmosphere, another senior took the initiative to help. Junhan, go run an errand and see who's here. Okay. Seeing that Bai Wuxia had been defeated, Junhan was in a good mood as he happily went to open the door. The first thing he saw was a bright and eye-catching silk banner. Chapter 469. Junhan was originally standing in a sloppy manner, but when he saw the row of righteous police officers outside the door, he hurriedly straightened his back. All of a sudden, everyone in the live stream was complaining. He looks like me when I stood in a military stance during military training. Junhan asked nervously, Police uncle, may I ask what you're doing? You don't have to call me uncle. Junhan asked straightforwardly, Police uncle? You'd better call me uncle. By the way, is Miss Xianxi here? Are we here to give her a silk banner? Huh. Junhan was stunned for a moment before he hurriedly said, Yes. I'll go call Sister E over right now. He dashed to the small kitchen and shouted as he ran, Sister E, there's a silk banner for you. At this moment, Junhan still didn't know that because of this video, he would be made into a magical emoji pack. From then on, he would occupy half of the ghostly B section and even have a place in the emoji world. Meanwhile, Bai Wuxia was dumbfounded. The silk banner in the police officer's hand can't be for Xianxi, right? Xianxi washed her hands and came over. She had already dealt with the police officer who had given her the silk banner the last time, so she asked him if he had eaten dinner. The other party swallowed his saliva and then said seriously, No, Miss Xianxi, thank you for your great contribution in solving the case of a major fugitive. This is a silk banner and a reward for you. He unfolded the silk banner, and there were 8 words written on it: frowny face, courageous and righteous, a role model for young people. There was also a brand new check. After the cameraman got the other party's permission, he zoomed in and took a close-up. The amount was written on it: 200,000 yuan. The live stream was instantly shocked. I know about courageous and righteous acts, but what's with the major fugitive? This is the second time Sister E has received a silk banner, right? The police officer also gave one to Sister E during Mingxi Boys High School last time. Damn, a reward of 200,000 yuan is usually given to the most vicious criminals. What did this little vase do to earn so much money? Don't think too much. She must have provided some clues or something. With her small body, it's good enough that she doesn't cry when she sees a criminal. Many people thought that Xianxia might have seen the criminal and reported the case, but in the next second, she was slapped in the face. Madam Xianxia, on behalf of the South City Police, I would like to express my gratitude and respect to you. Thank you for seeing injustice and lending a helping hand to capture the fugitive. All of them, stand at attention and salute. Several policemen straightened their bodies in unison and saluted Xianxia with a standard salute. No one knew better than them that if it weren't for Xianxia, the fugitive might have hurt Su Tumi or others, or he might have escaped and continued to commit crimes, leaving behind victims and broken families. However, Xianxia had ended all of this. Director Zhu cooperated with the investigation and sent a copy of the video to the officials. The group of men fell silent as they watched Xianxia fight with the other party. Her face was red from holding back her breath. As for Bai Wuxia, who stood by and watched them die, a few policemen glanced at Bai Wuxia. Although they didn't say anything, the disdain in their eyes was real. Xianxia bowed slightly and said in a humble and gentle manner, "Thank you. However, this isn't my credit alone. It's the result of the concerted efforts of Junhan and the staff of National Citizen." Someone in the live stream raised a question. Hey, why didn't Sister E mention Bai Wuxia? Didn't he boast that he contributed the most? Chapter 470. Ah, that's right. Weren't you bragging to the heavens just now? Why are you so quiet now? I'm laughing my head off. Look carefully behind. Bai Wuxia is hiding from the camera. He must be feeling guilty. Bai Wuxia was burning with anxiety when he saw that the banner had been awarded to Xianxia. Wasn't this equivalent to slapping him in the face in front of millions of viewers? Bai Wuxia wanted to use the bathroom to get away with it, but for some reason, a cameraman happened to block his way. Xianxia's personal cameraman, Old Zhang, smiled at him meaningfully. You stole Sister Yi's credit, and now you want to run away? Dream on. Bai Wuxia was speechless. Damn it, is this person crazy? He was already depressed enough. Not far away, Junhan's applause could be heard. Good. Sister E is the best. Sister E is the best. He could be considered a primary school student. The others at the dining table knew what was going on and also applauded. For a moment, the scene was like a commendation ceremony where students went on stage to receive awards. Bai Wuxia was caught in the middle, like an outlier. He had an awkward expression and didn't know whether to applaud or not. There was a lot of mocking laughter in the live stream, but there were also a few die-hard fans of Bai Wuxia who tried to defend him. Xianxia is stealing Teacher Bai's credit and honor, right? I'm speechless. She's getting all the limelight. If it weren't for Teacher Bai, would the vase fairy have gotten this banner? Teacher Bai looks so pitiful. He's already so old, yet he's still being isolated. Could it be that a certain female celebrity is leading a small team to ostracize Teacher Bai? Of course, these brainless comments were quickly rebutted by the spicy Tutu fans. Sorry, our Sister E is just that outstanding. You're the only one who's awesome, who knows the truth, okay? Some people are pitiful and deserve sympathy, but Bai Wuxia brought this on himself, okay? Why didn't he use his eyes and brain? In reality, the policeman said a few more words of encouragement to Xianxia before leaving. Junhan reacted quickly and took the silk banner from Xianxia. Sister E, your hand is injured. Let me take it for you. Let's interview you. How does it feel to hold a silk banner for the first time? Shui carelessly tempted Xiao Naofu with a piece of dried fish. She smiled lazily and said, "This isn't the first time our sister E has held a silk banner. Everyone, why do I feel like you're even prouder than Sister E?" Xianxia pursed her lips, feeling a little embarrassed. "It's really not my work alone. It's the result of everyone's hard work. Director Zhu, please help me distribute the money. Everyone has worked hard." Everyone expressed that the money was meant for Xianxia and they couldn't accept it. At this moment, Wuxia suddenly appeared with a magnanimous look. "Since you've said so, then I'll be the agent and divide the money. I don't want it. I'll give you more." Those who didn't know better would think that he was a noble person. Even the people who were criticizing Wuxia hesitated and stopped typing. He doesn't seem that annoying after all. Wuxia was very proud of himself. He felt that his ability to react on the spot was too brilliant. "Look, didn't I just avert the danger and get a good impression of myself? Young people are still too inexperienced to fight with me." However, in the next moment, the girl's calm and indifferent voice sounded. "Senior, you're worrying too much. I never intended to give you this money." Chapter 471. Xianxi's voice fell. Apart from Shui, everyone else's eyes widened in shock. Isn't Sister E a soft girl? How come she's even tougher than Shui? A huge controversy broke out in the live stream. Some people felt that Xianxia was too rude, while others felt that there must be an inside story. More people sent links to the live stream of Two Under One Roof to invite their friends over. "Hurry, come and watch the drama." The number of viewers in the live stream increased greatly, making countless peers in the industry cry. There must be a script, right? Otherwise, how can it be so exciting? First, Shui insulted me. Then Sister E confronted me head-on. Even a million screenwriters wouldn't dare to write such a script. Wuxia's face instantly turned as black as the bottom of a pot. First, Shui didn't know what was good for her. Then Xianxia didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Both of them didn't give me any face. What's the difference between this and slapping me in the face? Wuxia was so angry that he laughed, looking like a loyal minister who had been framed. He was indignant and self-deprecating. "I originally had good intentions, but I didn't expect that my good intentions would turn into a bad thing. Sigh, forget it. How can an old man like me join the fun of you young people?" He made it sound like he was really being ostracized and isolated. His acting skills were superb. Needless to say, this scene was quite infectious. Some netizens were emotionally swayed by his words, but then they heard Xianxia ask in confusion, "Senior, are you illiterate?" Jin E Yong Wei means to fight against illegal acts and protect others. "Senior, you didn't do anything, so you're not entitled to this money in the first place, right?" The girl wasn't arguing, but was seriously questioning. Even her tone was as if she was discussing an academic issue. Everyone was speechless. Sister E is awesome. She spoke their minds, and she hit the nail on the head. Especially Jun Han, who secretly gave Xianxia a thumbs up with his hands hanging by his side. As expected of Sister E, Wuxia, on the other hand, felt as if he had been punched in the face and almost fainted. He had been in the entertainment industry for so many years and was used to all kinds of plastic flowers on the surface, beating around the bush, making moves behind people's backs, and fighting in the dark. But he had never seen anyone openly fall out with him. Xianxi's words and Wuxia's reaction caused an uproar in the live broadcast room. F***. So Xianxia means that Wuxia has been standing by and watching? This is too disgusting. She clearly didn't leave, but she still wants to steal the credit. You're really disrespectful. He's really insulting the stage name Wuxia. Flawless white jade. A modest gentleman. Was he worthy? He's not worthy. Wuxia's fans were even more devastated. They tried their best to protect Wuxia, but in the end, they found out that Wuxia was a coward. Who could bear this? You can choose not to save them. Although it's not morally justifiable, there's no legal obligation to ask for help. But you didn't save him, but you still boasted that you saved him. That's disgusting. Wuxia was enraged to the extreme. You're slandering me. There are so many pairs of eyes watching. Do you think I'm the kind of person who would leave someone in the lurch? There was dead silence. Wuxia panicked a little and looked at Jun Han first. Little Jun, Jun Han pretended to be crazy and said, Bai Wuxiao looked at another old actor, hoping that the other party would speak up for him on account of their many years of friendship. Old Gao said, what did you say? I can't hear you clearly. I'm old, my hearing is bad. Chapter 472. No matter who Bai Wuxiao looked at for help, no one spoke up for him. Bai Wuxiao was really flustered and scared this time. The netizens also came to their senses. In a sense, not expressing their stance was also a way of expressing their stance. I've seen people who are unpopular, but I've never seen someone so unpopular. Everyone kicks a man who's down. Bai Wuxiao is a good example of that saying. In other words, Bai Wuxiao really didn't do anything, and he might even have left her in the lurch. That's why everyone is angry. The public opinion was one-sided, and apart from Bai Wuxiao, there were only a few fans who were still clamoring. Gossip is a fearful thing, and 3 people make a tiger out of it. Public opinion can melt metal, and accumulation can destroy bones. Don't you guys have a conscience for treating an old artist like this? Who knows if these people are being threatened? It's ridiculous that there's no smoke without fire. If you have the guts, show me the evidence. I'm a skeptic, and I don't believe in witnesses. I only believe in physical evidence. The planner of National Citizen happened to see this comment and showed it to Director Zhu. Director Zhu was speechless for a while. After pondering for a moment, he whispered a few words to Li Jinyu. Li Jinyu was particularly terrified after hearing this. That's not very nice, Director Zhu. I'm not worthy. There are some things that I can't say, so you can only lead the way. Director Zhu smiled bitterly. Do you want to see Sister Yi get criticized? Li Jinyu was silent. After spending so much time together, he had long been conquered by Sister Yi's culinary skills, her personality, and charm. She was such a gentle and determined girl. If it weren't for him, she might not have been involved in the whirlpool of public opinion. Although he called Xianxia Sister Yi, he really treated Xianxia as his younger sister. Sister Yi deserved to be pampered and not be wronged at all. Li Jinyu. Okay, I'll go. While the table was in a deadlock, Li Jinyu's voice suddenly rang out with a megaphone. Dear viewers, please keep your eyes peeled for National Mass Workout on Saturday at 8 p.m. This episode will feature the newly crowned Best Actress Su Tumi, the powerful idol Jun Han, and other celebrities, as well as our sister Yi ensure sway. Of course, I'll also have 3 seconds of HD 4K footage. Welcome to the show. While the guests and audience were dumbfounded, he even coughed and said, Director Zhu, it's time to settle the advertising fees. In an instant, the netizens began to mock him. Why are you calling him Director Zhu? Call him Daddy. Son, why are your advertisements always so unexpected? Wow, there's actually a 3-second scene. Our Yuzi's online debut must be a flowery one. The audience didn't understand the deeper meaning, but Bai Wuxia understood instantly. Director Zhu didn't seem to say anything, but he was actually expressing his stance through Li Jinyu. Video. The production team must have a video. Bai Wuxia was scared, angry, hateful, and regretful. His emotions reached a critical point, and he couldn't help venting all of them to Xianxia. Get lost. Get lost. What right does an artist like you have to participate in the recording? If it weren't for Xianxia, would I have turned a blind eye to her plight? If it weren't for Xianxia, would I have ended up like a clown? Bai Wuxia's facial features were distorted, and his originally elegant and handsome face became extremely menacing. Everyone was watching. The slender and fair girl glanced at him indifferently and said calmly, I don't mean to offend you. I'm just reminding you that this is my home. Chapter 473. This is a home. Those words were like a curse that kept repeating in Bai Wuxia's mind. He had completely lost control of his expression, as if he had heard something extremely terrifying. Bai Wuxia had never watched 2 Under One Roof, nor had he heard the conversation between Xianxia and Director Zhu. Hence, he had no idea that the manor belonged to Xianxia's family. At this moment, his pupils constricted and he almost vomited blood. Such a large manor actually belongs to Xianxia's family? Bai Wuxia choked for a long time before saying, Okay, I'll leave then. I'll leave, all right? He thought that someone would more or less try to persuade him to stay. However, something awkward happened. Be it the veteran actors, Jun Han, or director Zhu, no one in the production team of National Citizen tried to persuade him to stay. That was not the worst. The one who dealt the most critical blow came from Shui. The man was elegant and gentle. Sorry for the inconvenience. Take care, I won't see you out. Bai Wuxia was speechless. He was so angry that his head hurt. He didn't know if it was an illusion, but he felt a metallic taste in his throat. The netizens also flooded the live stream with comments. Get lost, I won't see you out. I'm dying of laughter. He actually told Sister E to get lost. What a big face. Bai Wuxia has been taking advantage of his seniority for a long time. Finally, someone can teach him a lesson. I'm so happy. In the vast night sky, Bai Wuxia left in a sorry state. Old Zhang was so evil that he didn't even give him a single screenshot. The consequence of offending the cameraman was that he wouldn't get a single screenshot. For an artist like Bai Wuxia, having no popularity was worse than any form of punishment. Bai Wuxia got into the nanny van, thinking that he had already been humiliated enough. To his surprise, when he turned on his phone, he saw that several entertainment news apps were promoting his scandals. An old actor with good morals and skills? No, he's weak and incompetent. What a coward. Bai Wuxia's car crash. Click on the link below to watch the face-slapping video. Who would have thought that the former Bai Wuxia would turn a blind eye to his plight? Bai Wuxia was so angry that his blood pressure rose. He was furious. How can these reporters write nonsense? Tell them to delete the manuscript. Tell Amen, if they don't delete it, I'll sue them. This was creating something out of nothing. It's just a rumor. The assistant trembled. Teacher Bai, something happened. Annie Jean was Bai Wuxia's loyal fan since his debut. She had also changed from being called Xiao Jean to Annie Jean. When she found out that Bai Wuxia was participating in the live broadcast, she had been watching. In Annie Jean's eyes, Bai Wuxia had his own filter. He symbolized the beauty of her youthful days of simply liking someone. Therefore, no matter how many loopholes Bai Wuxia made, she could always find a reason to defend herself. When she saw some people saying that there was no evidence to prove that Bai Wuxia did not save her, she suddenly had an idea and thought that she had thought of a wonderful idea. Perhaps the situation at that time had been filmed by the production team of National Citizen. With the mentality of giving a try, she relied on her strong ability to find a hacker and get the video of that time. Unexpectedly, after the hacker got the video, the more he looked at Bai Wuxia, the more he disliked him. He even directly exposed the video of Bai Wuxia not saving him. As a result, the video went viral on the internet. This time, there was both a witness and a physical evidence. The last bit of face that director Zhu wanted to give Bai Wuxia was completely torn down by this enthusiastic hacker. When Bai Wuxia heard this news, his eyes rolled back, and he fainted on the spot. Chapter 474. Mr. Bai, wake up. The assistant was frightened and hurriedly called the emergency number. By the time Bai Wuxia woke up again, the public opinion on the internet had already gone out of control. The video went viral on the internet, and every word that Bai Wuxia said in it made people feel uncomfortable both physically and psychologically. Let's stand further away. If Xianxia can't take it, we'll be in trouble. Hey, don't run towards us. The bad guys were targeting the two of them in the first place. Aren't they afraid of implicating us? The netizens were furious. Although they usually liked to bicker and argue on the internet, they were still very clear-headed when it came to major issues. Daily androphobia squared. Is he a man? He looks like a human, but is he speaking like a human? Is he even human? I'm so disgusted by Bai Wuxia that I'm about to throw up my dinner from last night. You're a man. How can you have the cheek to watch Sister E charge forward? Forget it if you retreat, but how dare you make sarcastic remarks? Get lost. Bai Wuxia desperately spent money to remove the trending topic, but the comments still appeared one after another, and there was no end to the videos and posts. The public opinion formed an overwhelming wave that quickly slapped Bai Wuxia so hard that he couldn't make a comeback. In the living room, Su Tumi sat cross-legged on the ground and stroked Xiao Naofu with one hand and little Shiji with the other. She was a winner in life. Her belly was round because of the chicken soup, and under the dual healing of food and adorable pets, she was in a much better state. Xianxia came over with pajamas and a towel. The pajamas were made by my second brother. I haven't worn them yet. The towel is also new. It's been washed and dried. Sutumi grabbed it and smelled the faint floral fragrance on the clothes. Are you afraid of the dark? Do you want me to get you a nightlight? Xianxia asked. Then, she felt someone tugging at the hem of her clothes. Sutumi blinked and said coquettishly, Sister E, can I sleep with you? Xianxia said, it's not impossible. Oh yeah, that's good. I'll take a shower now. The live stream room was instantly filled with demons. This sweet and soft CP is going to explode. Jiang Joji, you there? E, do you still remember me by the Daming Lake? Oh, our Sister Yi's harem has grown stronger again. Bestow a perfume pouch, leave a plaque, and be conferred the title of Imperial Concubine. Look closely at the look in Shui's eyes. I'm laughing so hard that my head is about to fall off. Someone hold it for me. Everyone noticed Shui's expression and found that it was indeed very subtle. For a moment, the live stream was filled with laughter. There were also untimely CP fans who stubbornly said, so what if you want a harem, but our Shui is the real one? The live broadcast ended. Director Zhu's material was almost done. Although Xianxia said that they could stay the night, he still left with the crew. Sister E was such a good person. How could she bear to cause trouble for her? Li Jinyu and Ruan Qing sent him off. Director Zhu, don't forget about my 3-second shot. Director Zhu laughed and said, of course. Ruan Qing expressed her gratitude to him. Thank you for being willing to collaborate with us, Director Zhu, and thank you for helping us inform the overseas version of the review. This is just a token of our appreciation. Please accept it. Director Zhu was about to decline, but he heard Li Jinyu say, this is the salted fish and smoked bacon that Sister E made, as well as the spicy rabbit head and sauce beef from Little Rabbit Farm. Who can resist this? Chapter 475. How can I accept that? Although he was more polite than anyone else, Director Zhu picked up the gifts faster than anyone else. With a radiant smile on his face, he exclaimed, Sister E, you're so nimble. The other staff members of National Citizen were dumbfounded. Director, I thought you didn't accept any gifts. Why are you accepting them today? Have some backbone. But then again, these are really delicious. Slurp. Sutumi went to take a shower, leaving the two of them alone in the living room. Only then did Xianxia realize that she seemed to have a boyfriend today. The man was sitting by the French window, casually flipping through an English novel. His gold-rimmed glasses were placed on the bridge of his tall nose, and his upturned peach blossom eyes were hidden behind the lenses. He was clearly keeping a low profile, but he was so dazzling that he couldn't be ignored. Feeling a little guilty, she poured a glass of water and scurried towards him. Boyfriend, have some water. Shui looked up with an ambiguous gaze. You finally remembered that I'm your boyfriend? Xianxia looked at him eagerly. I'm sorry, I'm not used to it yet. Looking into his starry doe eyes, Shui felt extremely helpless. What should I do? I haven't even coaxed him, and he's already not angry anymore. He closed the book, and under Xiangyi's puzzled gaze, he hugged her waist, carried her to the small coffee table, and sat down. Xiangyi began to stutter. Get used to my existence, girlfriend. The man's voice was deep and alluring as he buried his head in her fair neck and rubbed it twice. Her heart was beating wildly. Xiangyi thought, is this what it feels like to be in a relationship? It seems I'm happier than I imagined. However, when she thought of Shui's misogyny, she was a little worried. Don't you hate girls very much? Don't you feel uncomfortable? Shui chuckled softly. You're different from others. A long time ago, he discovered that he didn't resist touching Xiangyi, but at that time, she was still too young and he wasn't a beast. Hence, he didn't think that they would be together. Even now, he still wasn't sure if it was true. Xiangyi tentatively wrapped her arms around his waist. How about this? Shui looked into her eyes. No. Xiangyi was a little excited and nervous at the same time. She moved her hand up and placed it on Shui's shoulder before hugging his neck. It was a very intimate gesture. What about this? Sure sways Adam's apple bobbed. The two contradictory qualities of abstinence and sexiness were mixed together to create a seductive aura. His voice was hoarse. Sister E, do the words you said in the hospital still count? Xianxia asked. Which one? She thought for a while. The kiss one. Sure Sway's eyes darkened. Yes. The tips of Xianxi's ears were red. Her voice was soft, but it was childish and fierce. Boyfriend, boys should be more reserved. Sure Sway thought. Does this girl have some misunderstanding about me? Am I not reserved enough? However, he didn't want to push Xianxi too hard. Some things were better to let nature take its course. Suddenly, chirp, the girl left a light and soft mark on his cheek. Sure Sway was stunned. Xianxi pretended to be calm. Okay. Since you're my boyfriend, I'll satisfy your small request. Before she finished speaking, a tall figure suddenly shrouded her. A strong and dangerous aura filled the air. Sorry, Sister E. I can't be reserved. Chapter 476. After he deliberately lowered his voice, her legs turned to jelly. Xianxia felt that the little deer in her heart was about to faint. There are cameras. There are fixed cameras installed in the living room. They're all turned off. What if someone sees us? No one's watching. Sure Sway rubbed her ears and watched as her milky white skin instantly turned red. No one knows, huh? Xianxi expressed assent, feeling dizzy and muddle-headed as if she was soaking in a honey pot. Even the bubbles that came out were honey-colored. The ambiguous atmosphere was fermenting uncontrollably. Even the air had become sticky. The atmosphere was just right, but it was interrupted by Xiao Naofu's cries. Meow, meow, meow. Xianxi snapped out of her daze and turned her head, only to find that Xiao Naofu had jumped onto the coffee table and was looking at her with a look of disbelief. Stupid woman, you're actually in a relationship with this dog of a man? This isn't real. No. Xianxi's face suddenly burned. Ahem, Xiao Naofu. As you can see, we're dating. Afraid that Xiao Naofu wouldn't understand, she deliberately explained, he's my boyfriend. Like a bolt out of the blue, Xiao Naofu took 2 steps back and sat on the ground, as if it couldn't bear the shocking blow. Meow. The little kitten's cries were filled with grief and indignation. Little Shiji immediately scurried over and circled around the coffee table foolishly. Sure Sway was speechless. His temples throbbed a few times, and he suppressed the urge to beat the kitten. As if declaring his sovereignty, he tightened his grip on the little girl's slender waist. Sistery, there was a trace of enchantment in the man's pleasant voice. Help me take off my glasses. Xianxi, who was still thinking about what delicious food to make to coax Xiao Naofu, helped him take off his glasses in a daze. In an instant, it was like a scene in a movie where light and shadow intertwined, creating an ambiguous tone. In a quiet room, all the soft sounds were extremely clear, from lingering affection to almost crushing possessiveness. It was passionate and charming. Xiao Naofu's furious roars and little Shiji's puzzled barks could also be heard. When everything was over, Xianxi almost lost her balance. Fortunately, Sure Sway caught her in time. His slightly calloused fingertips gently wiped away the water droplets on the girl's lips. Sorry, I couldn't help it. Just a little? Xianxi's face was as red as a tomato. She curled her toes and didn't know where to put her hands. Xiao Naofu screamed angrily and jumped over to scratch Sure Sway. A certain movie king who was satisfied naturally let it scratch him. Very quickly, a few scratches appeared on his muscular forearm. The man immediately complained, Sister E, it hurt when it hit me. You deserve it. Despite her words, Xianxi still picked up Xiao Naofu and coaxed softly, Don't hit him, he'll hurt. Xiao Naofu. Meow, meow, meow. Don't I feel heartache? Sure Sway leaned over and asked innocently, Sister E kissed me. Why don't I kiss you instead? It'll be an indirect kiss. Xiao Naofu kicked its short legs in the air. Meow, meow, meow. This sentence is too meow, meow language. It can't be translated. Xianxi covered Xiao Naofu's ears and said shyly, Don't say such things in front of it. Kittens can't listen to such impure things. Sure Sway chuckled. She thought to herself, Not only does he dare to say it, he also dares to do it in the future. Chapter 477. Xianxia had no way of knowing what the man in front of her was thinking. When she saw Shui nod, she felt relieved. Little did she know that he only promised not to say or do anything in front of Xiao Naofu. However, he didn't promise not to do it behind Xiao Naofu's back. As for Xiao Naofu, it cried loudly like a child who had lost its beloved toy. Will my stupid woman abandon me after having a dog-like man? The more Xiao Naofu thought about it, the sadder it got as it sobbed. Stop crying, stop crying. Xianxia panicked and said, Shall I get you some canned food? She jumped off the coffee table and went to Xiao Naofu's exclusive snack cabinet to get some food for it. Shui slowly put on his glasses and regained his gentlemanly demeanor. However, as soon as he spoke, he began to whine. Little fatty, you look so ugly when you cry. Xiao Naofu was speechless. Damn it, what did you say? I'm fat. I'm ugly. Wah. Xiao Naofu cried even harder. Little Shiji bit Shui's trouser leg and barked a few times. Woof woof. Woof woof woof. Tisk, you're quite protective of it, Shui lamented. Xianxia hurried back and coaxed Xiao Naofu for a long time before it finally ate the canned food while sobbing. At night, he even insisted on sticking to Xianxia to sleep together. Fortunately, Su Tumi didn't mind the cat on the bed either. Hence, the two girls shared a bed with the cat. Little Shiji had nowhere to go and soon forgot about Shui bullying Xiao Naofu. It ran to his bed and snuggled up to sleep. Shui was speechless. Even Xiao Naofu can sleep with sister. Meanwhile, he only had the dog to accompany him. It was very annoying. Su Tumi stayed in the manor for a few days and planted flowers and vegetables with Xianxia every day. From time to time, she would go to Little Rabbit Farm to experience the joy of high-tech farming. When her manager, Sister Yin, came to pick her up, she refused to leave. I'm not leaving. I want to stay at Sister Yi's house. Sister Yin was speechless. Hua, do you still remember that you are an actress? She just won the Best Actress award. I'm not listening. It's time for me to go feed the pigs. In the end, Sister Yin had no choice but to get the bodyguards to hold Su Tumi up and force her into the nanny van. Su Tumi looked out the car window and burst into tears. Sister E, I can't bear to part with you. Whoa, you should fatten Little Black up a bit. It's too skinny, it'll be too dry to eat. Xianxia was a little sad because of her, but when she heard this, she couldn't help but laugh. I'll remember that. This scene was completely broadcasted live. The netizens were laughing like crazy. What kind of immortal treasure is this girl? Su Tumi is crying while thinking about food. That's so funny. Whoa, is the sweet and soft CP going to be broken up like this? No, I really like this pair. All of a sudden, an extended luxury car suddenly stopped beside Su Tumi's car. The car door opened automatically, and a pair of long, slender legs appeared in front of everyone's eyes. He was wearing a pair of sneakers, jeans, and a white hoodie. He was dressed in a simple and clean outfit, but he exuded an artistic and fashionable aura. The cameraman glanced over in confusion, allowing the netizens to see the person's face clearly. It was a pale and weak young man with an angelic face. When the wind blew, he covered his face with his hand and coughed twice. His fingers were fair and slender with well-defined joints. A red rope was wrapped around his wrist, which was particularly eye-catching. Chapter 478. The comment section of the live stream immediately exploded. Is this little angel a guest? Sickly brother, I can do it. Su Tumi, hurry up and leave. I could be a new couple. Su Tumi. Sister E and I are a sweet couple. Are we not worthy of a name so soon? It's Little Nocturne. She's the main streamer of Xianxia live stream's music section. She's super impressive with the piano. Ling Yi stared at Xianxia for a few seconds from afar, and his long, curly eyelashes fluttered like the wings of a butterfly. Shui asked softly, Do you know him? Xianxia shook her head and said, No, I don't. A melodious northern accent sounded. Hey, are you all out to welcome me? You guys are being too polite. Only then did everyone notice that there was a plump, middle-aged man standing on the other side of the car door with a smile. They actually invited the famous folk musician, Tianji. Tianji had appeared on the Spring Festival Gala several times and could be considered a household name. The Suona was also well known in the folk music circle. In the past 2 years, he would occasionally participate in variety shows too. As long as he was on the show, there would definitely be no shortage of jokes. However, such an existence had actually been neglected for a long time. The reason was none other than that Ling Ye's face was too eye-catching. Tianji was today's guest. Shi Sui, Xianxia, and the others stepped forward to greet him. After exchanging a few pleasantries, Tianji introduced, "This is my little disciple, Ling Yi." The netizens in front of the screen were all stunned. A big shot like Tianji wouldn't easily take in disciples. If he did, it would be like passing down the teachings of a master in Wuxia novels. The youngest disciple would often be the last disciple. Everyone looked at Tianji, who had a small belly, and then at the pale and coughing Ling Yi. They were all confused. A pop-up comment expressed everyone's thoughts. "Teacher Tian, with all due respect, the two of you have completely different styles." Everyone imagined the little angel playing the Suona, with Tianji with his cheeks puffed up. No matter how angelic he was, he couldn't resist the perverted Suona. Tianji pretended to be angry. "What's with your expressions? Apart from the Suona, I can play the flute, and gouging a little." It was no exaggeration to say that Tianji was an all-rounder in music. Ling Yi took the initiative to introduce himself. "I learned the zither from my master when I was 3 years old. Please give me some pointers." So that was the case. With this explanation, whether it was the staff at the scene or the audience in front of the screen, they were all secretly relieved. No one expected Ling Ye's next sentence to cause an uproar. "Sister, do you still remember me?" The young man's eyes were a clear amber color, and his eyes were round. He stared at Xianxia without blinking. Everyone's gaze turned towards Xianxia in unison. The girl looked confused. "Have we met before?" Ling Yi lowered his long eyelashes and pursed his thin lips tightly. As expected, big sister doesn't remember me. For a moment, Xianxia felt that many of the female staff members were looking at her, as if she was a scumbag who had abandoned her husband and child. "I'm sorry," she said. "Big sis didn't do anything wrong." "You don't have to apologize," Ling Yi said as he handed over a gift box. "This is my gift to big sis." "Huh?" Xianxia opened it. Inside was a still and quaint bamboo flute. It was very small and suitable for girls. Tianji didn't forget to speak up for his little disciple. From cutting, painting, drilling, tuning, winding, and engraving, Ling Yi did everything himself. Ling Ye's eyes were filled with tears. He was nervous and expectant. "Big sis, can you accept it?" Chapter 479. Xianxia was always much more tolerant of good-looking children. Besides, they were so polite too. Xianxia said, "I won't stand on ceremony then. Thank you for the flute. It's very beautiful." Seeing that she accepted it, the corners of Ling Ye's mouth curled up slightly, making his pale face look livelier. Su Tumi's nanny van drove away, and everyone walked towards the living room. Halfway there, Shi Sui raised her eyebrows and asked ambiguously, "You don't know him?" Xianxia said innocently, "I really don't know him." Their conversation reached the ears of the netizens in the live stream. TSK, a certain best actor is jealous. Shi Sui, "Look at my hair color. Does it have a tinge of green?" "Ha ha. As long as I have enough CPs, I can have twice the sugar and twice the happiness." In the gazebo in the courtyard, although Xiangyi's hands were inconvenient, she had no problem adding some seasoning. She asked in a warm voice, "Senior Tian, Ling Yi, do you have anything you want to eat for lunch?" Tianji said, "I've been on a diet recently. I'll just eat some steamed coarse grains. Otherwise, I'll get scolded again when I get home." Tianji was known for being a henpecked husband in the industry. As soon as he spoke, the netizens in front of the screen couldn't help but laugh. Ling Ye's eyes lit up. "I'm not picky about food. I like to eat whatever sister makes." Xiangxia nodded slightly. "He's not picky about food. Seems like he's an easy kid to take care of." "What about you?" The young girl looked at Shi Sui. Shi Sui said with a straight face, "Pickled fish with pickled cabbage." Xiangxia muttered softly, "Don't you dislike sour food?" Shui glanced at her. Xianxia was speechless. In a live stream? Haha. Sui's gaze is amazing. Why do I feel that the aura between the two of them is very subtle? Shui, I'm a pickled cabbage fish. It's too much and too much. Tianji and Shui went fishing together. Xianxia sat by the floor-to-ceiling window and casually flipped through a medical book on food therapy. After acupuncture, her second brother's hand had recovered by more than half. She wanted to nourish him through food therapy. After obtaining Xiangyi's permission, Lingyi obediently helped tidy up the bookshelves. A gentle breeze blew through the milky yellow curtains. The scene was warm and tranquil. Hiss! Lingyi suddenly sucked in a breath of cold air in the quiet living room. Xiangyi looked up and found that he had been hit on the head by a book that had slipped from the bookshelf. She frowned and got up to walk toward Lingyi. Lingyi hurriedly apologized. Sister, I didn't mean to dirty your book, but he heard the girl ask, Does it hurt? Lingyi stared blankly for a moment as a strange look flashed across his amber eyes. However, he quickly concealed it and said, It won't hurt. Go and rest. Xiangyi picked up the book and inserted it into the bookshelf. It's just a book. It's okay. You don't have to take it to heart. Schwa. Lingyi placed his hand on the bookshelf, and from afar, it looked like he was holding Xiangyi in his arms. The red string around his wrist was old, but coquettish. Sister, he said in an obedient tone. Xiangyi turned her face to the side, and only then did she realize that the two of them were a little too close to each other. She frowned in displeasure and wanted to retreat, but Lingyi blocked her way with his other hand. It was a standard cabinet posture. Actually, I didn't recognize you at first either. It was when you were playing with Jiang Jujio. Lingyi's hair was naturally curly, and he looked soft and soft. However, there was a strong sense of paranoia in the depths of his eyes. But I've traveled with you so many times. If you forget me, I'll be very upset. Chapter 480. At the same time, Xiao Naofu was tired of chasing butterflies in the garden, so it scurried towards the living room with its short legs, ready to ask Xiangyi for some dried fish. Little Shiji followed closely behind it. As soon as it stepped into the living room, Xiao Naofu's eyes widened and its fur stood on end. It glared at Lingyi in shock. It's a fast transmigrator. What's going on? This stupid woman has already completed all her missions. Why is she still interacting with a fast transmigrator? Bang! A loud noise came from the bookshelf. Lingyi's cabinet lasted for only a few seconds before Xiangyi pressed him against the bookshelf. The young man's handsome face was pressed against the cold oak bookshelf, causing it to deform slightly. He smirked and said, Sister, don't be so fierce. Xiangyi had already deduced his identity from his few words. Her gaze was calm, and she didn't get emotional because of Lingyi's words. Kid, don't blame me for being rude if you get touchy again. There was a hidden threat in her tone. There was a huge uproar in the live stream. What the hell? Xiangyi and Lingyi are having an affair? They've already traveled. How can they not know each other? The vase fairy is really disgusting. I suddenly feel sorry for Shui. He's so chaste and has never been involved in any scandals with other female celebrities. What about Xiangyi? There are so many women around him, but all she does is flirt with little wolves and puppies. She's so fickle. Something like transmigration was simply too unimaginable for ordinary people. The netizens naturally interpreted traveling as a single man and woman going on a vacation together. Lingyi's wrists were thin and his fingers were long and slender. Xiangyi was restraining his beautiful hands. Lingyi's fingertips touched the red string. Seemingly unintentionally, yet also seemingly on purpose, he said, This is a gift from my sister. I've always kept it well. Xiangyi's expression changed slightly. In several S-grade planes, there was often more than one auxiliary role. She had indeed teamed up with the same person in several difficult worlds and even gave him a red blessing string that she had gotten from a certain world. However, in those planes, her teammates were all girls. Wait, that's not right. You. Xiangyi was shocked. You're a cross-dresser? Lingyi blinked his eyes. Did Big Sister just find out? I thought Big Sister knew all along. The conversation between the two made the netizens very excited. F asterisk CK. This is too much information. It can't be what I'm thinking, right? Sister E mistook Ling Yi for a girl and went on a trip with him? The case has been solved. No wonder Sister E didn't recognize Ling Yi. To be more precise, she probably didn't recognize Ling Yi in men's clothing. So what if he's a cross-dresser? Don't forget that our Shurindi also wore Sister Yi's jacket. When it comes to cross-dressing, our Shurindi won't lose. Some Shui sister's competitive spirit is a bit too strange. Perhaps because he had been pressed down for too long, Ling Yi began to show signs of weakness. Big sister, it hurts. Xianxia hadn't recovered yet, and her reaction was inevitably a little slow. Just as she was about to let go, she suddenly heard Ling Yi's coquettish tone. Big sister, I'll be good from now on. Can you not be so rough with me next time? Xianxia was confused. A cold and languid voice suddenly sounded in her ears. Sister E. Xianxia was speechless. She turned her head abruptly, only to discover that Shui was standing at the door with his back straight and handsome. Special note, not updated on 9/19, but updated on 9/20. Good night. Chapter 481. When the camera panned to Shui, the netizens watching the live stream got excited. Hell, what a scene. Let's fight. Shui is going to pull Ling Yi's hair. Sister E is so adorable when she's confused. Shui, what are you waiting for? Go and kiss him. Let your younger brother see what it means to be evil in society. Xianxia snapped out of her daze and immediately let go of Ling Yi. She jogged towards Shui and stopped a few steps away from him. Why are you back? Did you catch any fish? I'm here to get some water for Senior Tian, Shui said in a natural tone without even looking at Ling Yi. How's your hand? The pain of a broken bone was nothing to Xianxia. Besides, she had been resting for a few days and was feeling much better. However, in front of Shui, she couldn't help but behave coquettishly. It hurts a little. Seeing Shui frown, Xianxia regretted her words and corrected herself. Just a little. Not far away, Ling Yi was leaning against a bookshelf. His body was very sensitive to pain, and even though Xianxia hadn't used much strength just now, he could still feel a sharp pain in his wrist. His face was pale, and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. As he watched the interaction between Xianxia and Shui, there was a hint of envy in the depths of his eyes. Shui coaxed her to sit down on the couch by the floor-to-ceiling window, not forgetting to put a cushion around her waist. He placed a small blanket on her lap and pulled the charging cable to her hand. On the table in front of her, there were medical books, a magazine, fruits, snacks, and flower tea. Have a good rest, Shui said gently. Xianxia nodded and sat down obediently. Ling Yi was speechless. She was so cold in front of him just now. Why did she become so soft in front of this man? Seeing Shui take out a pot of cold tea from the fridge, Ling Yi stepped forward and said, Mr. Shi, let me accompany you. Shui nodded slightly. The two of them walked side by side to the pond. After walking for a long distance, the two of them were still safe and sound. The netizens were a little disappointed, but they heard Ling Yi slowly ask, Does Mr. Shi like Sister Xianxia? The netizens. F asterisk CK. Little brother, you're a little bold. Hey, she's hitting a straight shot. Love. Good question. I've always wanted to know how Shurindi feels about Sister. The cameraman switched the camera to Shui's face. The man's face was chiseled, and his jawline was smooth. No matter how bad the angle was, there was no fault to be found. In front of the screen, many of the Shui sisters thought that Shui would be able to solve this problem easily with his EQ. For example, Sister E is so outstanding. Who would hate her? Another example was children asking such questions. Are they looking for puppy love? Aren't you afraid that I'll inform your parents? However, to their surprise, Shui said calmly, Yeah, I like her. In an instant, the cameraman's hands trembled and he almost dropped the expensive equipment. The comments in the live stream seemed to have been cleared. 1 second, 2 seconds, whoosh. Overwhelming comments filled the entire screen. Like? Shurindi said he likes her, right? He admitted it. This D***MN man finally admitted it. Ah, the whole building is filled with my rooster cries. Come and tell me loudly. It's inappropriate. Yes. Really? Yes. Chapter 482. To everyone's surprise, Shui didn't beat around the bush or throw the question back at them. Instead, he openly admitted to his feelings for her. Not only did the live stream cause a sensation, but the hashtag Shui's confession hashtag also quickly became a trending topic on Weibo. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that it was the hottest topic on the internet. Lingyi was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect Shui to give such an answer. He adjusted his mood and said with a smile, "After all, who wouldn't want to get close to such a warm person like Big Sister?" Shui glanced at him indifferently. For some reason, Lingyi felt a dangerous aura from him. He had traveled through many worlds, and even if he had met people of high status or extremely powerful martial arts, none of them had made him as wary as the man in front of him. This guy, what kind of existence is he? Lingyi suddenly felt uncertain. "Mr. Shui, are you afraid that I'll snatch Big Sister away?" He tilted his head and revealed a harmless smile. His facial features were exquisite, and his hair was slightly curly. He's really an angelic young man. As for whether or not he had Satan in his heart, that was still up for debate. "Shui, you won't be able to snatch her away." Lingyi was curious. "Are you that confident?" The mature and noble man lowered his eyes and chuckled. "Because I believe in her taste. She'll definitely choose the best one." Xiao Naofu, who was secretly following behind the two of them, frowned when it heard this. It had the urge to spit out its furball. It had never seen such a shameless person. Lingyi originally thought that Shui was a gentleman, modest, and polite person. However, the system's voice suddenly sounded in his mind. "According to my speculation, there's a 90% chance that he and Miss Xianxia are together." F***CK. Lingyi's feelings were very complicated. Soon, they walked to the side of the pond. Lingyi obediently poured a glass of water for his master, and then accompanied him to fish. Tianji took a sip and praised, "Osmanthus oolong? TSK. It turns out that cold brewed tea has a different flavor too." Shui said, "Sister, he has made a lot of tea bags recently. If Senior likes them, you can bring a few more flavors to try when you leave." Lingyi heard the system say, "Look, he's already acting like the male host. Why don't we just forget about it? Miss Xianxia is so beautiful. She's destined to be someone you can't get." Lingyi fell silent for a moment as he recalled how popular Xianxia was in other transmigration worlds. Fast transmigrators often experienced life and death, betrayal, separation, deception. Some people might have completed their mission, but they had lost their humanity. However, Xianxia was still able to treat people with gentleness, which made her seem even more precious. He was so impatient that he didn't catch a single fish for a long time. On Shui's side, fish were lining up to take the bait. Tianji also caught a lot of fish. "It's almost time. Let's pack up and go back," Tianji said. Shui responded and threw the fish back into the pond. Releasing small fish was an old tradition for fishermen. Tianji asked, "Do you fish often? What's the highest record?" Most people would answer the number of fish they caught or what rare species they caught, but Shui smiled and said, "Those who were willing to take the bait." And it was a sistery mermaid. Tianji was very experienced in life and understood everything with just 4 words. He squinted his eyes and smiled without saying anything. The next second, the cat's meow attracted everyone's attention. They saw the white, soft, and fluffy Xiao Naofu blocking Lingyi's way and roaring fiercely. "Meow, meow, meow." Chapter 483. "Stop. Don't move. This Huhu has something to say to you." Although Lingyi didn't understand cat language, his system did and signaled for him to stop. "Is this cat a spirit?" "No, this is a godless world, so it's impossible for it to become a spirit." The system muttered to itself. According to speculation, it may be a creature from another plane, and the possibility of it being a fast transmigrator cannot be ruled out. Lingyi thought for a moment and smiled at the cameraman. "It's dangerous for the kitten to be alone by the river. I'll accompany it for a while." Uncle, can you go back first? In this world, not many people could resist such a smile. The cameraman agreed to Ling Ye's request in a daze. Shui pushed her gold-rimmed glasses and narrowed her eyes slightly. Tianji, children are so playful. Let him stay with the kitten. Let's go. I'll teach you how to play the suono when we get back. Shui couldn't help but laugh. The netizens knew that Teacher Tian was joking, but they were still amused and couldn't stop laughing in front of their screens. By the pond, Xiao Naofu puffed out its chest and roared domineeringly. "Ah, meow. Don't bully this stupid woman. She has this hoo-hoo to protect her." Ling Yi listened to the simultaneous translation in his mind, squatted down, and tried to scratch Xiao Naofu's chin. "You? How are you going to protect her?" Xiao Naofu responded with a fierce tiger claw. Ling Yi sucked in a breath of cold air, and a bloody mark appeared on the back of his pale hand. "It's quite fierce." He sighed. "Humph." Xiao Naofu rolled its eyes at him. Ling Yi simply sat down on the ground. He didn't mind the dirt and coughed twice in a low voice. "In order to show my sincerity, I promise you that I won't hurt her. However, shouldn't you also explain your identity, kitten?" Xiao Naofu was furious. As it yelled, the system translated, "Are you blind? I'm not a kitten, you F***king idiot." Ahem, the profanity has been blocked for the host. Hey, it mentioned systems and fast transmigrations. Ling Yi raised his eyebrows. "You're a fast transmigrator?" Xiao Naofu stared at him with its icy blue cat eyes, cautious and vigilant. "My system number 522, do you know it? I heard that it has a good reputation among systems." Xiao Naofu's eyes lit up. Every system had its own personality. For example, number 522 was the kind that was full of righteousness. In the heat of the moment, Xiao Naofu told her about his failed reincarnation. "I'll pass on your message to the main system." Ling Yi smiled warmly. "You're such a good person, so Xiangyi must like you as well." His slender fingers gently rubbed the back of Xiao Naofu's neck. Xiao Naofu was elated by the compliment and didn't avoid it this time. Ling Yi easily gained Xiao Naofu's trust and even managed to get a lot of information out of him. After coaxing Xiao Naofu into a trance and hopping back to the villa, he stood there with a cruel smile on his face. "What a naive kitten. You believe everything I say." In fact, his system was not number 522 at all. The system was silent for a while before asking, "Do you need me to transmit the bug information to the main system?" "No. Save. Intercept." Ling Yi coughed a few more times and clenched his sleeves tightly. There must be something wrong with this plane. His voice was bewitching. "Baby, don't you want to transcend?" System, not every fast transmigrator and system had such strong beliefs. Maybe we could take advantage of the small bug in this plane to create a big one. Ling Ye's eyes were astonishingly bright. Chapter 484. Back at the villa, Shui took the initiative to deal with the fish. Tianji asked in surprise, "Shui, you're so good at cooking?" Shui answered swiftly, "I learned a little from Sister E." With a loud bang, the fish was knocked out by him. The next scene was too gory, so there was no camera in the live stream. Tianji was full of praise for Shui, but he had never been in the kitchen much in his life, so he had no choice but to stroll to the living room. He hummed 2 lines of Peking opera, and his voice wasn't loud, but Xiangyi heard it. She turned her head and smiled faintly. "Is it locked up?" "Senior, you sing well." Tianji was amused. "Hey, little girl, you know Peking opera too?" Seemingly realizing that he had said something inappropriate, he corrected himself. "I'd like to clarify that I don't mean to discriminate against women. I'm just expressing my personal opinion and have no intention of causing a debate or encroaching on public resources. Please forgive me for my inappropriate language." His tone was melodious and amusing, and the live stream was instantly filled with laughter. Teacher Tian's desire to survive is too strong. Tianji is a walking joke. Just by standing there, I can laugh the whole day just by looking at him. Xiangyi burst into laughter, making her milky white face look radiant and stunning. "I don't know much, but my grandpa often listened to it when I was a child, so I know a few classic songs." Tianji, on the other hand, was itching to learn. In addition to folk music, he also liked to sing Peking opera, but his singing was only at the level of a fan. However, he especially liked teaching others how to sing, especially young people. Tianji cleared his throat. How can you just listen to it? Come on, little girl, I'll teach you a few lines. Xianxia froze for a moment, then closed the medical book in her hand and smiled. Thank you, Teacher Tian. However, there were a lot of question marks in the live stream. Sister E, wake up. Don't, kid. Other people need money to sing, but have you forgotten that your singing is life-threatening? For those who don't understand why everyone is so confused, you can search for a single that Xianxia once released. Some curious people really want to search for it. Title of the song: Cafes Closed on a Rainy Day. Oh wow, at first glance, it looked quite artistic. He clicked play. The moment she heard Xianxia speak, his expression gradually cracked. No way, right? How could such a beautiful voice sing so badly? Not long after, a group of absent-minded netizens appeared in the live stream. After listening a half of the song, I feel like becoming a monk. Where's the sound modifier? It can't be the original song, right? A person who knows so many musical instruments is tone deaf. This is F*King ridiculous. Someone replied, Dear, it's not that there aren't sound editors. The version you're listening to now is already the edited version, everyone. She suddenly understood why Xianxia was hated by the entire internet. It was fine if it was just lousy. The problem was, it was too rotten. There were also people who retorted, Sister E sang in 2 Under One Roof before, it wasn't that bad. However, not everyone had seen that live stream, and the TV version wasn't broadcast there either. Hence, most people had already given up hope that Xianxia would learn Peking opera. Some people even pressed the mute button, while others silently put on earplugs. Well, if they covered their ears, they wouldn't be able to hear Sister Yi's deadly voice. However, they still had to see her face. Some of Xianxia's anti-fans rushed over when they heard the news, and they were so happy that they were about to cry. They had never seen the main character dissing herself like this. Wasn't this just rushing to give her dirt? They decisively turned the volume to the maximum and even turned on the screen recording function. Chapter 485. Hence, the livestream viewers were divided into 2 groups. Those who liked to lick Tian's beauty, and those who liked to record Tianji drink a mouthful of water to moisten his throat and cleared his throat. Come on, I'll sing a word and you'll sing a word. The anti-fans. TSK. Most people learn to sing word by word, but Tianji has to teach Vase Fairy word by word. You can imagine how good Vase Fairy is to him. However, as soon as Tianji opened his mouth, everyone was dumbfounded. Just the word spring alone was like flowing water, twisting and turning, winding and winding, but it had a unique charm of its own. Damn, this is too difficult, isn't it? That was the common thought of countless netizens who were watching the live stream. In the next second, Xianxia hummed along with him. Her pitch was perfect, and she even imitated the twists and turns of the song perfectly. Damn it, how did she learn it so quickly? This was the exclamation of countless netizens who sang along only to realize that they could only sing the quacking of ducks and geese. Tianji was also very surprised, and he praised, Good, very good. Little girl, you're very talented. He taught even more energetically, and Xianxia also learned very seriously. After breaking down each word, Tianji said, I'll sing a complete sentence for you. Listen carefully. Afraid that Xianxia would feel pressured, he added, It's okay if you can't learn it in one go. It was rare to meet someone with such a high level of comprehension. Even if he had to teach her a few more times, he would be willing to do so. Tianji clapped his hands to the beat and sang a whole sentence in a babbling voice. The netizens commented that they couldn't even learn a single word, let alone such a long sentence. Some anti-fans sneered, waiting for a huge flop. A word is a word and a whole sentence is a whole sentence. How can Vase Fairy learn it in one go? I think this is similar to learning English. Everyone can recognize the 26 letters, but it's hard to say if they can be translated into words, let alone sentences. However, Spicy Tutu ignored them and focused on supporting Xianxia. Woolly Ego. Xianxia, Mama believes that you're the best. Sister E, just sing casually, don't feel pressured, come on, let's go. Tianji clapped his hands for Xianxia. The young girl sang along with the rhythm. Outside the pavilion of spring and autumn, there's a storm, huh? The netizens who had their voices turned on were stunned. Oh my God, how is this possible? The netizens who didn't turn on their voices were still joking. Shut up, we're on the same side. Beautiful eyes, seductive soul, beautiful voice, heartbreaking. Looking at the video, she seems to be quite engrossed in her singing. Friends who have turned on their voices, are you guys okay? However, after waiting for a long time, no one scolded Xianxia. Instead, there were a bunch of strange comments. What the F asterisk CK? This isn't real. Lip sync? He must be lip syncing. Mute party, huh? I've been waiting for so long. Why don't you guys spit on me? Could it be that it was so bad that he couldn't even spit it out? Someone reached out a little Geo that was testing the waters at the edge of danger and raised the volume by a notch. Tianji said excitedly, "Genius. Little girl, you are simply a genius." She felt that Tianji was going to say, "Damn it." Xianxia said embarrassedly, "I happen to have heard this song before." Tianji's eyes lit up. "Sing a verse for me then." Xianxia tried singing a verse. Tianji slapped his thigh and exclaimed, "Well sung. Little girl, I'll learn from you. Teach me." Everyone was dumbfounded. "What? Teacher Tian? Are you the teacher, or is Sister E the teacher?" Chapter 486. When Lingyi returned after fooling Xiao Naofu, he heard the master of this body pointing at Xianxia and saying half-jokingly, "This is my master, your grandmaster." A question mark slowly appeared above the young man's head. He was just fooling the little kitten. How did his sister's seniority rise? "Xianxia, Senior Tian, don't joke around. I don't deserve to be called master. If you like Beijing opera, we can communicate more in the future." Tianji laughed and exchanged contact information with Xianxia. Ling Ye's eyelashes fluttered, and he coughed for a while before whispering, "Sister, can I add you?" Xianxia couldn't stand seeing such a pitiful expression on a good-looking person's face, so she added him. There was a buzz. It was a message from Ling Yi. "Little Yetsu, sister, don't you want to know what my mission is this time?" Xianxia was speechless. Well, it seemed that she had been deceived by the young man's appearance. "What little angel? He's clearly a little devil," she replied. "It has nothing to do with me." Ling Yi licked the corner of his lips and tapped the screen with his slender fingers elegantly, as if he was dancing on the black and white piano keys. "Sister, you're so cold." He clicked on the emoji pack and chose for a long time before sending a pitiful kitten emoji that he was most satisfied with. However, a notification appeared on the screen. The message has been sent, but it was rejected by the other party. Did she blacklist him? Ling Ye's facial muscles twitched. On the other side, Tianji received a message. He closed his phone and looked at Li Jinyu. "Director Li, the new disciple I mentioned to you is here." Li Jinyu hurriedly said, "I'll arrange for someone to pick her up." Director Yin was the one who introduced Tianji to them. When Tianji proposed to bring two of his little disciples to the show, Li Jinyu naturally had no objections. He assumed that the other disciple was in the music industry, so he didn't care much about her identity. Xianxia glanced at the kitchen. "Sure, Sui is busy. I'll go pick her up." Ling Yi said, "I'll go too." "Okay, you two young people can run errands. I won't go. I want to listen to Xianxia's performance just now." Tianji took out his mobile phone. He had recorded Xianxia's performance just now. The netizens joked that Teacher Tian had failed to take in a disciple and had instead found himself a master. On the way to the entrance of the manor, Ling Yi tried to strike up a conversation with Xianxia several times. However, regardless of whether he acted cute or pitiful, Xianxia was very polite to him. Distant politeness. Ling Yi clenched his fists, feeling somewhat indignant. The netizens in the live stream couldn't stand it anymore. "Sister E, pay attention to your brother." "Oh, Sister E, you scumbag, your brother is about to cry cack. Ling Yi is too cute. Why can't such an obedient child get Sister Yi's love?" I don't really understand you women. If the genders were swapped, you would definitely be scolded and criticized for starting a harem. Why are you so excited when a woman starts a harem? None of your business. Do you need a reason to be a couple? Dog head. The summer wind blew, bringing with it a sticky and stuffy feeling. A black business car was parked at the entrance. It seemed low-key, but it was expensive. Lingyi stepped forward and opened the door for the person in the car. Xianxia caught sight of a familiar face. She frowned slightly. Qin Wanyin, who had exquisite makeup and was dressed in a long dress, seemed to have been reborn. She looked at Xianxia with a strong sense of superiority. She had now been chosen to be a fast transmigrator. Was Xianxia worthy of being compared to her? What a joke. I've been suffering for 2 days because of my health, but I still haven't written much. I'm feeling pretty bad too. Sigh. I'll try to write more during the day _ smiley face, angle, good night. Chapter 487. Hello, Miss Qin. Xianxia greeted her calmly. Although they weren't close, there was nothing wrong with her manners. Qin Wanyin smiled at Xianxia and said, Hello, Xianxia. I'm Teacher Tian's new disciple. Please take care of me in the future. The netizens were dumbfounded. Hello, isn't this Qin Wanyin? I'm impressed. How did she manage to greet Xianxia so calmly? If I were her, I would be so embarrassed that I would dig my toes into the ground. Is Teacher Tian's taste bad? Qin Wanyin previously used her main account to pretend to be a pure white lotus and used her sub-account to defame Sister E. Have you all forgotten that she was exposed? However, Qin Wanyin had previously accumulated a group of loyal fans. After several rounds of abuse, the fans that remained were the type that would continue to support Qin Wanyin even if she were to commit murder and arson. They would form a logical and self-consistent fan base. Their fighting prowess was quite astonishing. Stop defaming our Immortal Qin, okay? Immortal Qin was accepted by Teacher Tian because of her musical talent. Some maggots should stop being jealous of our Immortal Qin. Our little Immortal Qin was too straightforward and said a few honest words. That's why she was banned by the vicious vase fairy. But who asked her to be so outstanding that she still managed to get the script of a strong woman's story? When the passers-by saw these comments, they didn't have a good impression of Qin Wanyin. Sometimes, the comments of fans would have a strong impact on the artiste. Qin Wanyin took the initiative to hold onto Xianxia's arm, but the latter quietly avoided her. She had no choice but to take a step back and leave with Lingyi. To her surprise, Lingyi shook her off and chased after Xianxia pitifully while panting. Sister, wait. You're walking too fast. Qin Wanyin was speechless. Wait, what's wrong with this person? Isn't Lingyi here to help me achieve a perfect life? Why isn't he treating me well and sticking to Xianxia instead? Xianxia glanced at the cold sweat on Lingyi's forehead and slowed down her pace. They remained silent the entire way. Back in the living room, Tianji's eyes narrowed into slits when he saw Qin Wanyin. He took the initiative to introduce her to everyone. This is my new disciple. She's the best at playing the suona. Qin Wanyin's expression froze. She just wanted to use her identity as Tianji's disciple as a springboard to climb to the top of the entertainment industry step by step. She didn't really want to do folk music. What's more, it was an unpresentable instrument like the suona. Qin Wanyin hated Tianji to death in her heart. Why did he mention that she was playing the suona in front of so many people? Reality proved that Qin Wanyin's worries were not unfounded. As soon as Tianji's introduction came out, the live stream room was filled with laughter. The people who were the most confused were her fans. Oh, what? Is Immortal Qin playing the suona? Isn't it a guqin? When our little fairy plays the suona, she must be a fairy too. When Teacher Tian mentioned his beloved disciple, he couldn't stop talking. He knew that Qin Wanyin wanted to be famous, so he deliberately helped her make her presence known to the netizens. Come, it's the evening smoke. Let's blow it for everyone. For a moment, the situation was extremely awkward. Hey, don't be shy. Why don't you get Lingyi to accompany you? Teacher Xiang, do you know how to play the Xianxia too? Can you give me a hand? Sure. Qin Wanyin found it hard to turn down such a generous offer. She had no choice but to dawdle and take out the suona. Her expression and mood were as if she was going to visit a grave. Chapter 488. Lingyi had brought a guqin with him in the car. When he took it out, the simple design of the guqin amazed many people. Everyone knew that he was very accomplished in the piano, but they were curious about his guqin skills. Xianxia also took out her Xianxia. The guqin was black and decorated with red paint patterns. The 3 strings were exquisite, and the 2 sides of the guqin were covered with snake skin. The 2 gyukins looked ancient and charming. The suona that Qin Wanyin took out was carefully made by Tianji. The mouth of the suona was golden, and there was a piece of red silk cloth tied to it. It looked very festive. Qin Wanyin tried to secretly remove the red cloth, but she met Tianji's sad eyes. "Child, this is beautiful. Why can't you understand Master's aesthetics?" She put on a fake smile. "Master, I like it. I just want to tidy it up." "Let me do it." Tianji volunteered and removed the red silk cloth. After thinking for a while, he retied it into a fluffy bow. "Well, my little disciple is a girl. She should like it." Little did he know that Qin Wanyin had already cursed his ancestors in her heart. What bow? It's so old-fashioned. She hated Ling Yi even more. There were so many musical instrument skill cards in the system store, but he recommended her to choose the suona card. Wasn't he deliberately tricking her? However, when she met Ling Yi's innocent eyes, she was confused again. Perhaps Ling Yi was really just being nice? All kinds of complicated feelings intertwined in her heart. She heard Tianji say, "Then let's play," carrying the bridal sedan. "Sure, Sui, don't mess with the fish. Come out and listen. This song is very festive." Hearing the sound, Sure Sui wiped his hands and came out of the kitchen. His eyes fell on Xianxia. Seeing that the girl's hair was slightly messy, he strode forward and took out a hair clip with a bow from his pocket. He fixed the girl's scattered hair. Xianxia licked her lips uncomfortably. "Thank you." Sure Sui chuckled. "You're welcome." Qin Wanyin felt depressed. Xiangxi's bow was a scene from an idol drama. Her bow was a scene from a village drama. Gritting her teeth, Qin Wanyin steeled her heart and picked up the suona. She was the one who could achieve a perfect life. What did a mere Xianxia count for? That idiot must not even know what fast transmigration is. At the same time, Ling Yi and Xianxia started to play the prelude. The guqin sound was akin to high mountains and flowing rivers, deep and distant, while the Xianxian sound was akin to the ringing of a bell, deep and clear. In terms of timbre alone, the two were actually not very suitable for this song. However, after the delicate and skillful performance of the two, it gave off a different feeling. The netizens in the livestream praise group went online. "Wow, this song is so good. Sister E and her brother have such chemistry. Whoa, I feel like the two of them are soulmates when it comes to music." Jiang Jujio, what about me? It's obviously a story of 3 people, but I'm not worthy of a name? Smile, smile. However, the moment Qin Wanyin puffed up her cheeks and blew the suona, be it the plucked strings of the guqin or the glissando, they could no longer be heard. His ears were filled with the shocking, penetrating power of the hooligan suona. Beep, 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 beep. In particular, the cameraman even gave Qin Wanyin a close-up shot. The screen was full of images of Qin Wanyin puffing up her cheeks and shaking her head while playing the suona. Qin Wanyin's loyal fans were dumbfounded. Where's our little fairy? I suddenly want to quit being her fan. Chapter 489. That scene was so delightful that it made them hate Qin Wanyin even more. Ha 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 ha. I can't take it anymore. I'm laughing so hard that I'm out of breath. I've gradually forgotten that Qin Wanyin used to be the lead singer of a girl group. She's actually quite good at playing, but why are her cheeks so big? The layman enjoyed the show, while the expert enjoyed the intricacies. Others found Qin Wanyin to be hilarious, but Tianji was mesmerized by her performance. She's a rare talent that only appears once in a decade. His lung capacity, his rhythm, and his emotions could only be described with one word. Spot on. It's too much to add and too little to subtract. However, Sure Sui felt a strong sense of disconnect. It was very familiar. His slender, jade-like fingers with distinct joints slowly tapped on the table. All of a sudden, he stopped. Sure Sui raised his hand and adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses, his eyes gloomy and gloomy. He recalled where he had felt that feeling before. It was Xianxia in the past year. Qin Wanyin felt like a completely different person when she was playing the Suona. It was as if she wasn't the one playing the Suona, but something in her body that was controlling her. Xiao Naofu, who was in the cat villa, was woken up by the sound of the Suona. It looked at the source of the sound with sleepy eyes. Meow. Its fur immediately stood up. Little Shiji, who was sleeping next to it, hurriedly licked it with its watery black eyes full of bewilderment. Woof! Xiao Naofu pushed little Shiji away with its paws and stared at Qin Wanyin with its icy blue eyes. Little Shiji nestled next to it aggrievedly with its ears drooping. Xiao Naofu was completely dumbfounded. Why is there another fast transmigrator? This doesn't make sense. There must be something wrong. The song came to an end. Qin Wanyin put down the Suona and felt a sudden soreness in her facial muscles. In fact, she didn't know how to play the Suona at all. Every time she played it, it was because of the skill card. Good, Tianji exclaimed with a radiant smile and tried his best to applaud his disciple. Out of politeness, Shi Sui also clapped twice. Qin Wanyin's eyes lit up when she saw him applaud. Could it be that Shi Sui had a whole new level of respect for her? Actually, the person he liked now was her fresh, refined, and unconventional self? She asked the system in her mind, I want to conquer him. Help me think of a way. The one assigned to Qin Wanyin was a new system. It said weakly, Host, he is not within the scope of your mission, Qin Wanyin. Don't you exist to help me achieve a perfect life? Then, in addition to my career, I also need to have love. So he is also a part of my perfect life. The little system said, Please wait for a moment. I need to check the database. Qin Wanyin said disdainfully, How useless. The little system, Wu, in any case, I have Ling Yi helping me. Helping me is his mission. It's only right and proper. Qin Wanyin was brimming with confidence. Give me another beauty filter card. Host, points are very precious. It is not recommended to exchange for this item. This item will only add to your original beauty. Disobedient? Do you think I won't replace you? Successfully exchanged for the card. Qin Wanyin couldn't wait to use the card. Her long dress swayed gracefully as she walked toward Shi Sui. Tianji encouraged her. Keep up the good work. Thank you, teacher. Qin Wanyin smiled and looked at Shi Sui. Senior Shi, what do you think of my performance? Shi Sui. Miss Qin, your eyelids are falling. He paused and asked sincerely, Do you need glue? Chapter 490. Qin Wanyin's expression collapsed. Feeling angry and panicked, she quickly turned her back to the camera and used her phone as a mirror to search for her eyelids. Sure enough, half of the eyelid sticker had fallen off. Just as she was thinking about how to remedy the situation, a pair of pale and slender fingers suddenly appeared in front of her and tore off her eyelid sticker. Ling Yi said innocently, Sister Wanyin, where's the glue? I'll help you put it back on. Qin Wanyin was speechless. So be it. Why did you have to tear it off first? After tearing off the eyelid sticker, Qin Wanyin's eyes had become single pairs. Even with the enhancement of the beauty filter card, her looks were still affected. The netizens in the live stream were laughing like crazy. What kind of straight man is Xianxia speaking? Ling Ye's brother is also very straight. He even wants to help her stick it on single eyelids really do affect one's looks. Even a beauty like Qin Wanyin can't stand it. How dare she call herself a beauty in front of Sister E? Sister E can beat her without makeup. She's wearing heavy makeup, so she's just bragging with her eyes closed, right? At the side, Xianxia sneezed. Before she could reach for the tissue box, Shi Sui had already pulled out a tissue and stuffed it into her hand. She then got up to pour her a cup of hot tea. When she returned with the tea, she wrapped the small blanket around her again. This set of movements was smooth and natural. Qin Wanyin was dumbfounded. The netizens watching the live stream were also dumbfounded. Who just said that Xianxia is straight? The way he lowered his head to cover Sister E with the blanket is so cool. What kind of godly man is this? Seriously, from now on, all the male protagonists in romance novels have faces. Xianxia's double standards have won my heart. My family is very satisfied. I just don't know if Sister E has been enlightened. Boo-hoo, Sister E, this man likes you, do you know? Tianji told Qin Wanyin, who had just finished touching up her makeup, about the things to take note of when playing the suona. You can play it even better. First of all, the technique. Qin Wanyin listened absent-mindedly, feeling that this old man was so annoying. She had the system as her golden finger, so she didn't have to worry about not knowing how to play the suona. Tianji seemed to see her impatience. He sighed, but was not angry. He only said, Wanyin, you have to calm down. Look at Teacher Xiang. There's a saying that goes, 1,000 days for the Pipa, 100 days for the Zither, and half a lifetime for the Xianxia. For her to have such achievements at such a young age, she must have put in a lot of hard work. Qin Wanyin grew even more frustrated. How could Xiangyi compare to her? She was a fast transmigrator. What was Xiangyi to him? She already had achieved in her life, so why would she still painstakingly learn such useless things? Tianji let out another long sigh. He didn't show his dissatisfaction with Qin Wanyin's temperament in the live broadcast room. Qin Wanyin's thoughts weren't on him at all. Instead, she was searching for sure sway. She watched as the refined, abstinent, and elegant man rolled up his sleeves and went to the kitchen to cook fish. Xiangyi leaned against the doorframe and explained the cooking steps to him. From time to time, their gazes met in the air. Sure Sui would always smile gently and dotingly. He would never smile at her like that. Qin Wanyin's fingertips sank into her palms. She slowly exhaled and pretended that nothing had happened as she walked to Xiangyi's side. Sister E, I heard that you've done a lot of charity work and donated a lot of money to the Springflower Foundation. I recently saw some reports about the lack of hygiene product for the girls left behind. I want to do something to help. Can you tell me what I should do? Chapter 491. Hearing Qin Wanyin's words, Xiangyi's anti-fans in the live stream were stunned. Huh? The vase fairy actually does charity? Philanthropists are often equated with kind-hearted people. Everyone's favorable impression of Xiangyi instantly rose by a lot. Some even expressed that they would never criticize Xiangyi again. I was wrong, the vase fairy. Oh no, the little vase is actually so kind. I can't criticize her anymore. Xiangyi said calmly. You can consult a professional organization. Qin Wanyin pretended to be surprised. Huh? When you do charity, don't you do it yourself? Xiangyi looked at her strangely. What do you think counts as charity? At least, you should personally go to the orphanages and nursing homes to accompany the poor elderly and children and give them some rice, flour, oil, and daily necessities. Xiangyi nodded. I see. She ignored Qin Wanyin and went to help Sure Sui prepare the fish with pickled cabbage. The netizens were dumbfounded. That's it. That's it. Qin Wanyin is quite likable. Has Xiangyi really done charity? Why do I feel like she hasn't done anything like what Qin Wanyin said? Damn, there's something to eat, friends. Mrs. Tsin and the Spring Flower Foundation have posted on Weibo. The current state of the internet was that everyone would come to eat when there was something to eat. Everyone rushed to Weibo like bees in a field of melons. The Spring Flower Foundation was a private charity that was very well known. The founder was Mrs. Tsin from the socialite circle of Nanxing. She had an elegant demeanor and often shared her daily life online. Hence, she had many fans. Just a few minutes ago, she updated her personal Weibo account. Since Suqin, lies grow all year round. The Spring Flower Foundation's official Weibo account also updated. Spring Flower Foundation, due to receiving too many private messages, we solemnly declare that our foundation has never received any donations from Ms. Xiang. Thank you for your support of the Spring Flower Foundation. We would like to express our gratitude to the kind-hearted people in society. Charity is not easy, and we have no intention of encroaching on public resources. We only hope that a small organization like us will not be taken advantage of again. As soon as these two Weibo posts were posted, it instantly caused a stir. The amount of information he had was too much. Nanny, so who's lying? Didn't she say it very clearly? She didn't receive a single cent of Xiangyi's donation. Everyone calm down. Qin Wanyin was the one who said Sister E donated, not Sister E herself. So Xiangyi cheated the donation? Why do you say you're doing charity if you're not donating? Oh, really? He couldn't tell that she was this kind of person. Disgusting. F***CK. Xianxia is scamming donations? Such a big melon must be pushed to the top of the hot searches. The more the rumors spread, the more outrageous they became. In the end, the passers-by didn't care about the truth. They just caught on to the words, Xianxia's donation fraud, and started to scold her. Using charity to clear one's name was something everyone hated. What's more, using charity to gain popularity. As for the Spring Flower Foundation, it had unknowingly increased its popularity. In a short period of time, it had received a large amount of donations. Xianxia hid from the camera and secretly played with her phone. After seeing the developments on the internet, she sent Sentai a message. Sentai, don't forget about the resources we agreed on. She locked her phone screen and smiled. Xianxia is doing charity? How is that possible? Xianxia had known Xianxia for a year and was well aware of her true nature. She was an extremely selfish person. She deserves to be labeled as a scammer. Chapter 492. Apart from Xianxia, the other guests were unaware of the public opinion on the internet. Li Jinyu and the others saw it and were having a headache over how to deal with it. Why do I feel like this Spring Flower Foundation is trying to scam sister? Li Jinyu complained. Normally, there would be some time for official accounts to react to such a matter. However, as soon as Xianxia asked the question in the live stream, the Spring Flower Foundation's official account immediately issued a statement to clarify the matter. The timing was too delicate. Ruan Qing said, "Let's continue with the live stream first. The public relations department of Tomato Entertainment should be able to handle it. We'll see what happens later. If there's a need for cooperation, we'll get Sister E to clarify the matter in the live stream. That'll be more efficient." Seeing that she had arranged everything in an orderly manner, Li Jinyu scratched his head and said, "I suddenly feel like I've been worrying for nothing." Well, Sister E is now the CEO of Tomato Entertainment. The CEO of Stars Entertainment is my uncle and the eldest brother of Lynch and Law Firm. The power of these two people alone is enough to subvert the entertainment industry. Not to mention, I still have Xianxia, and Madame Xiang. 3 dishes and a soup are served on the dining table. Xianxia had been itching to cook with her uninjured hand, but she was stopped by Shui. "Everyone try it. If you don't like it, don't force yourself. We can still order takeout," Shui said with a gentle and elegant smile. Although everyone had different thoughts, they still had to eat. They picked up their chopsticks and tasted the main dish first, pickled fish with pickled cabbage. The fish was a carp that Tianji had caught. It was large and plump. Shui sliced the fish into slices and added the seasoning that Xianxia had put in. She then added egg white and stirred it evenly so that every piece of fish was coated with egg pulp. That was the secret to making the fish fresh and tender. After deep frying pickled peppers, Sichuan peppers, sesame peppers, garlic cloves, and other ingredients until they were fragrant, she added pickled cabbage and fish slices to stir-fry them together. Then, she added the separated fish meat and bones and slowly placed them in the casserole. The final product was a creamy white and fragrant fish soup. The fish meat was fresh and tender. The pickled cabbage was glistening and the red chili peppers. It was visually and fragrant. Tianji tasted it with his chopsticks and praised, "Oh, Shui, your culinary skills are amazing. Any girl who marries you will be blessed." Shui smiled. Tianji changed the topic, but it's a new era now. Men and women are equal. It's the same if you marry into the family. I'm marrying into her family. I've had a good relationship with my wife for so many years. Let's eat soft rice. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Netizens. At this moment, no one had the time to scold Xianxia for fraud. Everyone's attention was diverted. Marry into the family? Sure, Ingdi married Sister E. It seems pretty good too. Isn't Sister E hiding Jiao Jiao in the manor now? Sure, Ingdi is Sister Yi's Jiao Jiao, baby duck. Once I accept the fact that Sure Ingdi is Xiao Jiao Jiao. Oh my god, I want to write a fanfic. The sister in front. Here's the keyboard. Hurry up. Under everyone's focus, Shui smiled and said, "Thank you for your advice, Senior. I'll consider it." Xianxia choked and coughed. She wanted to vomit, but she was a little far from the trash can. In the next second, the man's fair and slender hand appeared in front of her. Shui tilted her head slightly and removed her gold-rimmed glasses. Her peach blossom eyes seemed to contain deep emotions and were very seductive. His voice was low and magnetic, without a trace of reluctance. Vomit on my hand. Chapter 493. Ling Yi, who was about to pick up the trash can and move it to Xianxi's feet, froze in midair. Damn, this man is even better at love than all the other fast transmigrators I've seen. Qin Wanyan's eyes were filled with disbelief. Why is this man so unreachable to me, treating Xianxia so well? She should be the one chosen by the heavens. Tianji, on the other hand, was smiling like an uncle, as if he was taking the lead in making love. Xianxia was stunned for a moment before she shook her head to indicate that it was dirty. Shui, however, said, "It's okay, I'll wash my hands later." His words seemed to have a bewitching charm. Xianxia subconsciously spat out the pickled pepper on his palm. The clear lines on his palm were stained with food residue. Even though he was a clean freak, his expression didn't change at all. His eyes were filled with gentleness. The fans of the untimely couple exclaimed, "Oh my God, I've hit it again!" Xianxia felt as if she was soaking in a jar of honey water. It was sweet and warm. Her face was no longer as calm as before. Instead, she was smiling brightly. She looked like a young girl. Ling Yi looked at the small interaction between the two of them, and a hint of yearning flashed past the depths of his eyes. Not everyone was willing to transmigrate for missions. Killing, scheming against each other, life and death parting. One world after another, they didn't even have a chance to catch their breath. No matter how deep their friendship was, it would disappear by the time they reached the next world. The more memories there were, the more painful it would be. Ling Ye's desire to stay in this world became stronger and stronger. Xianxia had a fatal attraction to him. It wasn't just the feelings between a man and a woman. It was also a sense of belonging, like a chick returning to its nest. He could feel that he was jealous of Shui. Ling Yi coughed softly and raised his hand to scoop up the pickled fish. However, due to his absent-mindedness, he accidentally knocked over the sky-blue soup bowl. In an instant, the fish slices and pickled vegetables all spilled out, and the soup flowed down the table. It was rare for Ling Yi to be in such a sorry state. Feeling uneasy, he took out a tissue to wipe the table, but the tissue was quickly used up. In a moment of desperation, he wanted to wipe the table with the hem of his shirt, but Xianxia stopped him. The young man looked up with a layer of mist in his amber eyes. "Sister," Xianxia said, "sit still. I'll get a rag." Ling Yi felt like he was sitting on pins and needles as she took out the rag. He was rarely afraid of anything, but now he was a little afraid. He was afraid that Xianxia would scold him. However, Xianxia just took a few pieces of cloth and gave one to Shui. Shui wiped the table skillfully. It was obvious that she had done a lot of housework. Xianxia handed another rag to Ling Yi. "Here, wipe your hands." Ling Yi anxiously waited for her to continue. After waiting for a long time, she only said, "What's wrong? Are you scalded?" Ling Yi couldn't accurately describe his feelings at that moment. He pursed his lips and said, "Sorry, I spilled the vegetables. Everyone makes mistakes like this." The young girl wiped the area that Shui had wiped. "There's still some left in the pot. Can you go and get another bowl?" Qin Wanyan retorted, "Xianxia, Ling Ye's hands need to play the zither and piano. How can you let his hands do such vulgar work?" She thought that she had hit the nail on the head. The next second, Ling Yi said without hesitation, "I can do it." He then glanced at Qin Wanyan. "A man's hands can do anything." Qin Wanyan. Chapter 494. "Wait, are you my assistant or Xiangxi's lackey? Why did you betray me just like that?" Qin Wanyan couldn't figure it out. As for Ling Yi, the way he went to scoop a bowl of rice made it seem as if he was going to complete some important mission. "Wait a minute," Xianxia suddenly called out to him. Ling Yi looked back nervously. Sis? Don't fill it too full. It'll burn you if it spills." Ling Yi knew that this was just a casual reminder. If it were anyone else, she would have said the same thing. However, Ling Ye's heart still skipped a beat. Even in the most fearful and despairing world, he still had an unyielding will. Only in front of her, would he submit to her gentleness. Ling Yi realized that he still couldn't resist her. Qin Wanyin volunteered. I'll go with him. She didn't let the cameraman follow them. When they passed by an area without cameras, she signaled for Ling Yi to turn off his microphone. Ling Yi lazily turned it off. What's the matter? Qin Wanyin couldn't keep her cool. Ling Yi, what's the meaning of this? Are you trying to ruin my show in front of everyone? Am I? Ling Yi blinked innocently. His angelic face looked even more pitiful than a girl's when he showed weakness. Sis Wanyin, you misunderstood me. I just want to perform well. If I have popularity, I can help you better, Sister Wanyin. Qin Wanyin was obviously shaken. The youth seized the opportunity to question her. Sis Wanyin, do you not trust me? If that's the case, I might not be able to help you. Qin Wanyin was anxious. Don't you want to complete your mission? Of course I want to, like how he wanted to. A safe and stable plane like this was something that could only be encountered by chance. To Ling Yi, it was no different from a vacation. Of course, he didn't want to leave. He even wanted to stay here forever. But Ling Yi looked conflicted. But Sis Wanyin, if you don't trust me, I won't be able to cooperate with you. Qin Wanyin felt that Ling Yi was still useful when she thought about the convenience he had created for her. Thus, she softened her tone and comforted him. Don't think too much. I'm just afraid that you'll be charmed by that woman Xianxia. She's an idiot. Look at how she's being cursed on the internet. Ling Yi suddenly narrowed his eyes as a sharp glint appeared in his amber eyes. By the way, is there any way for me to quickly conquer Shui? It would be best if I could replace Xianxia and become a permanent guest of Two Under One Roof. Wouldn't I be able to complete my career and obtain love at the same time? Sister Wanyin wants to snatch away Xianxia's things? Ling Yi asked. Qin Wanyin was filled with a sense of superiority. That should have been mine in the first place. I'm the chosen one. Who does she think she is? He's just an ordinary person. Ling Yi smiled and said, Sister Wanyin, it's not good to be too greedy, Qin Wanyin frowned. She had a feeling that Ling Yi was implying something, but his expression was too harmless. She suppressed her suspicions towards Ling Yi and threatened, If you don't help me properly, I'll make sure that you can't complete your mission. Ling Yi lowered his eyelids and replied obediently, I know. By the time a new bowl of fish with pickled cabbage was served, the comments in the live broadcast room were already unbearable. Countless netizens on Weibo were either sarcastic or filled with righteous indignation, but all of them were criticizing Xianxia. Thank you, Ms. Xiang, for donating the air to the Spring Flower Foundation. You haven't done anything yet. You didn't want to suck blood? Dream on. Come out and get beaten up. You're still in the mood to eat? Do you know how many children can't even afford to eat? I know. Sob sob. Good night. Chapter 495. These netizens were all there because of Ms. Tsin and the Spring Flower Foundation. Hence, it was only natural for them to target Xianxia. Even though Tomato Entertainment immediately clarified that Xianxia did not mention donating to the Spring Flower Foundation and that it was Qin Wanyin who mentioned it, there were still people who retorted. Since she didn't donate, why didn't she refute Qin Wanyin when she mentioned it? Instead, she tried to ride on Qin Wanyin's coattails. The public relations department was speechless. This batch of netizens is so stubborn. Are you all the reincarnations of Archimedes? At the same time, the Spring Flower Foundation's official Weibo account updated a long post with pictures and text describing how their organization had gone to a mountain village to donate sanitary products to the girls there. There was a paragraph written on Weibo. Xiaozhu is 13 years old this year, and her monthly allowance is only 20 yuan. Sanitary pads are a huge burden to her. She once thought about dropping out of school. However, our arrival caused stars to appear in Little Bamboo's eyes. Coupled with a photo of a mountain village girl smiling innocently at the camera, as well as a letter written by a young girl, many netizens were moved to tears, especially the female netizens. Sob sob, you girls are living such a miserable life. I'll donate money to you now. Don't be afraid. I'm here. I won't let you suffer like I did back then. The Spring Flower Foundation is the real charity. Celebrities like Xianxia, who only know how to ride on others' coattails, are disgusting. Now that you compare them, they're both fair, rich, and beautiful, but the difference is huge. Ms. Tsin is practically an angel on earth. Ms. Xianxia, don't try to wash away some maggots. Your steam won't be able to wash them clean. The spicy tutu fans were dumbfounded. What's with these people's logic? Ride on others' coattails? Who exactly is riding on others' coattails? Although Ms. Tsin was famous, she was only an internet celebrity. Xianxia was now an A-list celebrity who had been certified by national news. As for the Spring Flower Foundation, they had received so many donations, but they hadn't even released a single financial statement after so long. Who knew where the money had gone? Taking 10,000 steps back, even if Xianxia really didn't do charity, what was there to mock? At first, Spicy Tutu couldn't take it anymore and went to talk to the netizens. However, she was quickly stopped by the big fans. On the internet, we represent Xianxia and we can't bring trouble to her. Tutu girls, don't panic. We have to believe in Xianxia. It had to be said that the Spicy Tutu girls were all highly disciplined. After some guidance, apart from a few who were a little agitated, most of them had calmed down. That's right, they had to believe in Xianxia. On the other hand, Ms. Tsin had bought a few hot searches for herself. For a moment, she was in the limelight on Weibo, and her number of fans increased rapidly. At this moment, among the loving family, Xianxia, who liked to surf the internet, forwarded the Weibo post to the group and added a lot of angry emojis. Sanbao, I'm so angry. What kind of purebred idiot is this? I want to throw a sewing machine at them. Sanbao, question mark. Who changed the group nickname? So lame. Come out and accept your death. Dabao, little sister changed it. Sanbao. Sanbao has withdrawn a message. Sanbao, wow. Little sister's name is so cute, heartwarming, and loving. Dabao, Airbao, Sanbao, Sibao, Xiaobao, we're an auspicious and happy family to bow. Big brother, don't you think so? Big brother, are you there? Are you thirsty? Are you hungry? Sibao. Third brother, you have no integrity. Chapter 496. Xianxia didn't reply. Instead, Xianxia popped up and sent a smiley emoticon with an unclear meaning. Sanbao, second brother, don't smile like that. I'm afraid of crying. Sibao, third brother, don't flatter yourself. Maybe he wasn't smiling at you. Sanbao, colon? Jokes aside, he still had to protect his sister. Sanbao, it's just a trending topic. Who doesn't know how to be on it? Not long after that, hashtag Hades' personal show hashtag trended at an astonishing speed on Weibo. When the fashion industry saw this, they were shocked. The genius Hades, who had been away for a long time, was returning. Not only did Hades' studio announce the upcoming show, but they also released a set of 9 ready-to-wear designs. Each design was unbelievably beautiful. However, the studio claimed that these were the 9 designs that they were most dissatisfied with among Hades' works this time. Instantly, all the big shots in the fashion industry reposted it, but the content was all. Countless fashion designers tearfully typed, "Is this what a genius is? If I can design one in my lifetime, I'll die with no regrets." The netizens' comments also exploded. F***CK, it's so good. Is there a link? Looks like this year's fashion style is going to be redefined. Hades? What's his relationship with Kelsey? Are they brothers? Ms. Tsin saw that the netizens' attention was shifting. She couldn't bear to lose the popularity, so she spent money to buy a new trending topic. This time, the Spring Flower Foundation released a video of an interview with the girls who stayed behind. The girls in the video had timid eyes and avoided the camera. However, from their words, one could feel their helplessness and sadness. Coupled with the emotional soundtrack and artistic editing, as well as the popularity of the trending topic, the video quickly went viral. The Spring Flower Foundation once again took the top spot on the trending topic. However, within a few minutes, a new trending topic appeared. Hashtag Team Logic World Championship hashtag, the first to stir up was the esports industry. F***CK. They won the championship. No need to say anything else. Logic is awesome. It's over. All of a sudden, Weibo became a carnival for esports fans. Ordinary netizens might not be able to understand the gameplay, but this was an international competition. The international tournament. Forget it. To be able to win the world championship, they must be praised. Especially when the video of the five-man team of Logic going on stage to receive the award went viral. The popularity reached a terrifying level. Ah, who's the younger brother in the center? I'm screaming like a groundhog. Are you sure you won't debut with such a good-looking face? F***CK, that side profile, that height. When his teammate hugged him just now, he rubbed against his shirt and even exposed the outline of his abs. Isn't this the standard image of a male lead in an esports novel? Madame Tsen watched helplessly as the trending topic that she had bought fell again. She called the staff to question them, but the other party's response was particularly shameless. We can't do anything about this. The other party's trending topic is real traffic. Our server is about to crash. In other words, your trending searches are all fake. How can you blame us? Madame Tsen was speechless for a moment before she said irritably, I'll pay more. You guys have to stay in the top 3 for me. The staff immediately agreed, thinking that this lady had already been squeezed out of the trending topic twice. She shouldn't be so unlucky again, right? Chapter 497. After adding the money, Ms. Tsen felt her heart ache. She was afraid that the money would go to waste, so she contacted Qin Wanyin and told her to mention the Spring Flower Foundation on the show. It would be best if she could talk to Xianxia directly. Ms. Tsen had already realized that Xianxia was now a walking celebrity. As long as she became a hot topic, the Spring Flower Foundation would definitely receive more donations. After receiving the news, Qin Wanyin was a little anxious. She had already made it obvious enough the last time. If she did it again, what if she caused trouble? However, Ms. Tsen was introduced to her by Ling Yi, and she wanted to use Ms. Tsen to enter the upper-class socialite circle. For the sake of this precious connection, Qin Wanyin gritted her teeth and steeled her heart as she followed behind Xianxia. Xianxia was dumbfounded. Qin Wanyin said with a fake smile, Sister E, where are you going? I'll accompany you. To the wine cellar. Seeing that Xianxia liked peach wine very much, she wanted to get 2 jars for him to take away when he left. Since she was a guest, she had to treat her with respect. This was a principle that Xiangyi's grandfather had taught her since she was a child. Hence, she was also polite to Qin Wanyin. Little did she know that this gave Qin Wanyin the illusion that Xiangxia was a pushover and didn't hold it against her. She affectionately reached out to hold Xiangyi's arm, but the girl quietly avoided her with a sidestep. Qin Wanyin pretended to stroke her hair to hide her embarrassment. Blinking her exquisite eye makeup, she asked, Wow, Sister E, you even have a wine cellar at home. I'm so envious. When I was young, my family was poor and lived in a village. I also had a cellar, but it was used to store sweet potatoes. Qin Wanyin's words aroused the sympathy of many people. They were both goddesses. However, their lives were like the difference between the clouds in the sky and the mud on the ground. Ah, Qin Wanyin is quite pitiful. She climbed from the bottom to where she is now. Unlike Xianxia, who was born fair, rich, and beautiful. Haha, Xianxia is so extravagant. Other people's cellars are used to make a living, but hers is used for pleasure. Comparisons are odious. You're already so rich. What's wrong with doing some charity? No wonder people say that rich people are stingy and stingy. The bullet screen was full of scolding. It was as if Xianxia going to get some wine was a heinous crime. Qin Wanyin led the way. By the time they reached the wine cellar, their mouths were already dry. The little system reminded her several times that the more she spoke, the more mistakes she would make. However, Qin Wanyin always retorted back in annoyance. What kind of stupid system was this? She was the host, so it should listen to her. Xiangyi's attitude towards her was indifferent from the beginning to the end. She gave Tianji 2 jars of peach wine and politely asked Qin Wanyin if she wanted the wine she brewed. Qin Wanyin didn't like the wine she brewed herself. She was afraid that the bacteria in it would cause food poisoning. Her eyes darted around and landed on the red wine rack not far away. She pointed to a bottle of red wine that she couldn't understand. Sister E, can I have this? Xianxia, sorry, the wine over there is my brother's collection. I can't make the decision for them. This is the wine I brewed myself. You can choose whatever you want. Although the Xiang siblings were close, they were very principled. Even if it was Xiangyi's childhood toy, without her permission, the brothers would never give it to other children. Qin Wanyin pretended to be surprised and covered her mouth. Aren't you very close to your family? Ah, sorry, I was too talkative. It's okay, sistery, I don't want it. Chapter 498. Her words seemed considerate, but she was actually trying to drive a wedge between them. When the netizens heard this, they immediately felt that Xiangyi's relationship with her brothers wasn't that good after all. Otherwise, why wouldn't they give her a bottle of wine? Unfortunately, Qin Wanyin had underestimated how protective the Xiang family was. Xiangyi frowned. First of all, I don't think this has anything to do with the relationship between family members. Secondly, a good relationship doesn't mean I can do whatever I want with the items. Perhaps the things I find useless are precious and beautiful to my brothers. Qin Wanyin choked. The comment from the Spicy Tutu fans defending Xiangyi immediately flooded the screen. I'm praising Xiangyi. Qin Wanyin, what's the matter? Have you forgotten how you betrayed Sister E? Sister E is giving you face, but we won't. Go ahead and play your Swana *smile *. My mom gave my favorite hairpin to my cousin. I was so angry. I cried and she said I was stingy. I really want to have a family like Xiang E. *sob*. Some people were bored enough to take a screenshot of the bottle of red wine and immediately jumped up from the sofa. F***. That bottle of red wine Qin Wanyin once cost 6 figures. How could she be so shameless as to ask for it? For a moment, everyone's impression of Qin Wanyin was extremely poor. Besides, Xiangyi had already said she was going to give her the wine she brewed herself. She should just take whatever she was given. It was basic etiquette to give gifts when visiting others, but not only did she not give anything, she even took the initiative to ask for something. That was a bit inappropriate, wasn't it? Qin Wanyin didn't expect that the good impression she had gained by playing the Swana would disappear because of a few words. It was true that the more one spoke, the more mistakes one would make. However, Qin Wanyin didn't seem to notice and pretended to be magnanimous. Sister E, you have a point. By the way, my friend recommended the Spring Flower Foundation to me. I think it's quite reliable. Why don't we donate some money together? Xiangyi, sorry, not interested. Qin Wanyin, Sister E, I thought you were so kind that you'd be willing to donate money to charity. Xiangyi looked at Qin Wanyin in confusion. Why did she keep saying such strange things? Qin Wanyin was still adding scenes for herself. Maybe I'm too saintly. I can't read this kind of news at all. Every time I see it, I want to help others. Xiangyi found a basket and put 2 small jars of wine in it. She carried it with one hand and said, "It's okay. Kindness is when you feel pity for a person and want to help him. A saint is when you feel pity for a person and want to help the whole world." Qin Wanyin was secretly delighted. This idiot Xiangyi actually praised her for being kind? How brainless. The essence of charity, I think. Xiangyi explained her own understanding. I don't have the right to ask others to do something, but I can decide what I want to do. Immediately, netizens ridiculed. But you didn't do anything. Seeing this, Madame Tsin quickly got someone to cut Xiangyi's words out of context and posted them on the internet. Of course, she didn't forget to include the Spring Flower Foundation and Madame Tsin's charity. #Xiangyi says helping others is saintly. Xiangyi doesn't have charity and instead doubts Madame Tsin. Madame Tsin thought that this was going to be one of the top searches. However, she didn't expect that the spot she just bought would be pushed down again. Chapter 499. The trending topic was a news video posted by the Finance Channel's official Weibo account. In the past 2 years, the development of our national enterprises and country has been hindered repeatedly, especially the recent ban on the products of tomorrow's light technology, which has attracted widespread attention from all walks of life. The company's smart AI voice wearable product has triggered a technological revolution in the field, but it has been banned in country A for no reason. The reporter stood in front of a magnificent building that looked like a court. In order to defend the legitimate rights and interests of our national enterprises, Tomorrow's Light has hired an excellent team of lawyers with lawyer Xiang from Lynch and Law Firm as the core. Today is the day of the trial, and it has been more than 6 hours since the start of the trial. Ah, I see lawyer Xiang. A large group of reporters swarmed over, not only from the local media, but also from foreign media. Xianxia stood in the crowd. Even if he wasn't in the center, he was still the most eye-catching one. Even after a long trial, the man was still elegant and didn't show a trace of fatigue. His tailored dark suit outlined his broad shoulders and long legs. His tie was meticulously tied, and his hair was combed back, making him look like an elite. He lowered his eyes and adjusted his cuffs. The person beside him seemed to be saying something to him as he listened attentively with a frown. It was as if the ice on the cedar trees in the distant mountains were being melted by the sun. In the blink of an eye, the reporters had already squeezed in front of the lawyer team. Countless microphones and cameras were aimed at Xianxia. Lawyer Xiang, what's the result? Lawyer Xiang, how are you feeling now? Lawyer Xiang, do you have anything to say? Xianxia looked up. His face was chiseled, as if it was carefully carved by God. We won, he said casually. The crowd cheered. Some people were so excited that they threw their hats and jackets into the air. The reporter from the finance channel couldn't control his emotions and shouted in a choked voice, "We won the trial. The national enterprises won. China's technology industry won." The video paused at the scene where Xianxia's thin lips curled up slightly. At the most exciting moment, he smiled incomparably calmly. It was truly stunning, gentle, and inexplicably touching. The comment section was already in a mess. We'll get beaten if we fall behind, but we become stronger now. The legal team has worked hard. I heard that lawyer Xiang has put in a lot of effort for this case. He's amazing, really. Sob, sob, sob. I'm looking at Mr. Xiang's smile. I'm crying like a dog in front of the screen. He's withstanding so much pressure, and yet he's still so calm. Mr. Xiang, Mr. Riseby. Needless to say, this Weibo post instantly became a trending topic. It completely suppressed the trending topic that Madamson had bought. Madamson was on the verge of breaking down. She called them. What are you doing? Why did my ranking drop again? The staff member was also very helpless. This is a big event. Such a sensational event has aroused everyone's passion. The real-time popularity is not something we can control. Madamson took a step back and said tiredly, "Then guarantee me a spot in the top 5. This time, there can't be any problems." After all, Qin Wanyin was only participating in 2 under 1 roof for one day. After tomorrow, how could she have such a good opportunity to promote the Spring Flower Fund? Before he could finish his sentence, the staff member said, I'm afraid I can't guarantee that because there's a new trending topic." Madamson was confused. Chapter 500. She opened Weibo, and, as expected, the 4th trending topic was occupied by a term. Hashtag 2 under 1 roof went viral abroad. Hashtag Mizson was speechless. What the hell is this? She clicked on the term and found that the details were that the overseas version of 2 under 1 roof had been released at midnight. So far, it had dominated all major foreign video websites and social media platforms. The total number of views had already exceeded more than 1 billion. In recent days, variety shows in various countries had developed greatly, and most of them were imported from overseas. Although there were also popular local variety shows, they didn't have much international influence. This time, 2 under 1 roof had achieved the opposite. For the first time, a Chinese variety show had a huge international influence. There were all sorts of comments below. Is this real data? Damn, this little lousy is awesome. It's inconvenient to watch live broadcasts overseas because the internet speed is too slow. I've been watching the edited version, but I didn't expect there to be an official version. Hurry up and support it. I've translated a few of the most liked comments on foreign video websites. Everyone have a taste. Mysterious cooking techniques from the East. This little fairy has satisfied all my imaginations of Chinese cuisine. So this is the difference between land civilization and ocean civilization. I'm very envious of such a beautiful rural life. God, please let me experience it once in my lifetime. All the major variety shows sent their blessings to 2 under 1 roof. Even the official Weibo account of Muyao Satellite TV also posted a Weibo post that read, "May Chinese variety shows get better and better." No matter how fierce the competition was in the country, they had always been united against a common enemy. Two under one roof was fighting for the glory of Chinese variety shows. How could they drag them down at such a critical time? Of course, they would still have to compete and fight with each other later on. However, for a short period of time, the major variety shows reached a rare consensus. The netizens also felt honored and felt that they had a great time surfing the waves today. The melons were big and sweet, and they were all filling. The popularity of the Spring Flower Fund dropped again and again, temporarily stopping at 5th place. Ms. Tsin thought that she should be able to barely hold on to that position, but when she refreshed the page, she found that the number of terms related to the Spring Flower Fund had dropped again. Ms. Tsin was speechless. She watched helplessly as the top trending topic was dropped. That's right, dropped. Madam Tsin went to ask around and found out that this position was especially reserved for major scientific discoveries or national news. As long as the conditions were met, they would unconditionally descend. No matter how much money was spent, it was impossible to suppress this trending topic. In other words, at this moment, the number one trending topic represented the official will. Hashtag Xiang Li is nominated for the Nobel Prize in Medicine. Hashtag Nanchang Daily V. Our country's Dr. Xiang Li discovered a new ingredient in the medicine used to treat cancer, sea primrose. For detailed research results, you can refer to the latest issue of The Lancet. Dr. Xiang had been nominated for the Nobel Prize in Medicine. Like forward and congratulate Dr. Xiang. Once this Weibo post was posted, Weibo went into an uproar. The Nobel Prize. Someone questioned whether it was fake or not, and was immediately rebuked. Are you blind? It's been officially certified. I just want to check the thesis. It's at a level that I, a medical noob, will never be able to write in my entire life. I humbly look up to the big shots. Hey, did you notice that the trending searches on Weibo today are all dominated by Xiangyi and Xiangyi's brothers? Chapter 501. Everyone seemed to have woken up from a dream. It wasn't obvious that Logic was on the hot search list, but Hades was the one who made it public. As for Xianxia, he almost never accepted interviews, but this time he accepted it for the first time. As for Xiang Li, the nomination for the Nobel Prize in Medicine was a secret, unless the nominee was willing to reveal it. Could it be that he casually revealed the news of his nomination just to cover for his sister and suppress the other hot search lists? This conjecture was too unimaginable, but it was infinitely closer to reality. There was a lot of discussion on the internet. Among the loving family, a childish competition had begun. Sanbao, you smart people, you're all learning from me. Sibao, isn't it normal to be on the hot search list after winning a competition? Sanbao Ba, don't think I don't know that you deliberately showed off your abs to the camera. Sibao, unexpected. Bao, smart people. Smile. Sanbao, you are? Debao, colon. Seeing his brother's question mark, Xiangqi trembled in front of the screen and frantically clicked on the delete option. Then, he received a notification. This message cannot be deleted. Heaven wants me to die, Xiangqi wailed. He felt that he would definitely be beaten up the next time he saw his brother. Xiangyi returned to the living room with the wine. Sure Sui handed her phone. Your phone keeps ringing. Huh? Did someone have something urgent to tell her? Xiangyi took it and realized that the group chat was vibrating. Her third brother was sending all kinds of kneeling and crying emojis. The corners of her lips curled up as she sent a cute picture. Xiaobao, your little cutie suddenly appeared. JPG in an instant. The brothers in the group all appeared. Sibao, sister, I won the competition and even won the MVP award. I'll give you the trophy when we get back. Sanbao, sister, I made you a new dress and leather shoes. There are also lace socks. Bao, little rabbit, how's your hand? Debao, rest well. As if he felt that he did not care enough about his sister, Sang-chan furrowed his brows at the celebration party. He typed seriously, as if he was dealing with a complicated case. Debao, Tutu, drink more hot water. Looking at her brother's concern for her, Xianxia felt warm in her heart. She shared her recent daily life with her brothers and even sent a few photos to prove that she was in good health and in a good mood. She posted 5 photos, and every man in front of the screen, without exception, began to save his sister's photo. However, as time passed, the 4 of them realized that something was wrong. Si Bao, why are they all photos with Brother Shi? Sam Bao, I'm so angry. How can a man like him take a photo with my sister? Bao, smiley to Bao. Seeing her brother's replies, Xianxia quivered and came to her senses. However, she could not be blamed. Recently, the photos on her phone were all photos with Shi Sui. She rarely took any photos. Most of them were taken by Shi Sui or by the staff. She had no choice. Her boyfriend loved to take photos, so she could only spoil him. Little did she know that a certain best actor had long planned this. Xianxia looked at her fingers guiltily. After hesitating for a few seconds, she made a bold move. System notification. Xiaobao has invited Shi Sui to join the group chat. The Bao? Question mark. Bao. Sam Bao. Si Bao. The next second, Xiaobao. Let me introduce to everyone, this is my boyfriend, Shi Sui Rose. Chapter 502. The loving family was in an uproar. Xianxia and Xianxia were still able to keep their cool, but Xiangyu and Xiangfeng had already gone crazy. One was an esports guru, while the other was a sewing guru. The 2 of them were so fast that they spammed 99+ messages within minutes. If it weren't for Shi Sui's message, the 2 of them would have spammed 999+ messages. Shi Sui, hello, brothers. The wavy line successfully made the brothers grit their teeth. In Xiangyi's eyes, the girl rested her chin on her hand, thinking that her boyfriend was so cute. Even his message was so soft and cute. She shook her little finger and typed a message seriously. Xiaobao, Shi Sui is the man I like, and my brothers are my most important family. To me, we are a loving family. Shake hands, loving family? Loving family my ass. The expressions of the brothers in front of the screen were getting worse and worse. On the balcony, Xianxia was resting there. The program team had set up a safe zone. If she was tired from the live broadcast, she could go back to her room and rest for a while. Shi Sui held the railing with both hands and flipped over easily. He sat down on a rattan chair next to Xianxia and asked in a low voice, "Why did you suddenly give me a status?" Xianxia stared at him suspiciously. "Boyfriend, why do I feel that you're so skilled at flipping over the balcony?" Shi Sui's expression didn't change. "I've acted in similar scenes before. After a few takes, I know how to flip over." "Is that so?" Xianxia blinked and asked a little embarrassedly, "Do you not want to make it public?" "I just feel that it's not good to hide it from my brothers. I'll listen to Sister." Shi Sui lowered his eyes. "Sister E can do whatever she wants to me." Xiangyi's ears turned red. Then aren't you afraid that I'll do something bad to you?" Shi Sui looked up at her and smiled softly. "Sister E, what bad things do you want to do? Can I spoil it?" Xiangyi's ears turned even redder. She waved her hand and said, "I was just talking nonsense." Alas, she couldn't lead Shi Sui astray. The girl looked down at her phone and found that there were a few new messages in the group. Debao, Tutu, I've booked an early morning flight back to China. Bao, Little Rabbit, I'll look for you after I'm done with the Nobel Prize. Sam Bao, wait until I finish sewing the last dress for my sister. Shi Sui, I'll kill you. Si Bao, sister, wait for me to bring the trophy to you. By the way, how was the effect of smashing people with the trophy? Xianxia, her brothers didn't seem to like Shi Sui. Why was that? Shi Sui was so nice. The girl blamed herself and said, "I'm sorry. If I had known, I wouldn't have pulled you into the group." Shi Sui held her hand and gently pinched her fingertips. "I'm very happy that Sister E brought me to meet her family. I feel like I have a few more family members." Thinking about how the Shi family's family ties were thin and how Shi Sui had been alone since he was young without his parents by his side, Xianxia suddenly felt extremely sad. Her slender fingers passed through the man's slender fingertips and firmly interlocked with his. "This is just an online meeting. Next time, I'll bring you to meet them in real life." The girl promised firmly, "I'll definitely protect you well." Shi Sui was slightly stunned. His dark eyes immediately lit up with a smile. Sister E, you're so nice. Xianxia, you're nice too. Sure Sui chuckled. Are we mutually flattering each other? The girl shook her head. It's only right to praise your boyfriend. Bang! His heart felt like it had been targeted by a sniper. Sure Sui understood that he had nowhere to run. He had never wanted to run away. Chapter 503. The production team distributed a vegetable collection mission card. Xianxia was particularly interested in planting vegetables and took his 2 disciples to the vegetable garden for a stroll. Lingya's body was weak, and he was already panting heavily after walking a short distance. You'd better listen to the doctor and exercise more. Xianxia sounded stern, but he was actually feeling sorry for him and quickly handed him a tissue. Thank you, Master. Lingyi had never been willing to accept the kindness of others. No matter what, he would have to leave sooner or later. However, perhaps because of Xiangyi's influence, he suddenly felt that this old man was quite pleasing to the eye. He chatted with the old man about planting vegetables while picking vegetables from the basket on his back. Qin Wanyin found them to be country bumpkins and was unwilling to join them. She stood under the shade of a tree at the side, worried that the vegetable garden would dirty her expensive white shoes. She kept spraying sunscreen spray for fear that the ultraviolet rays would make her tan. The more refined she was, the more the audience disliked her. Qin Wanyin, can you be more professional? You're filming a show, yet you're afraid of the sun and the dirt. Even Ling Yi is picking tomatoes, but Qin Wanyin isn't doing anything, is she? Qin Wanyin is so lazy. Sister Yi's hand is fractured, and she could only carry the wine with one hand. Qin Wanyin didn't help at all. Even though the system reminded Qin Wanyin to get to work, Qin Wanyin still refused to move. Please, I'm the chosen one. Who would want to do such dirty and tiring work? Isn't it enough to be beautiful? Why do I have to be diligent? I don't want to be as silly as Xianxia, who's looking for work when there's nothing to do. Besides, Ms. Tsin had promised to provide her with resources. What else did she have to worry about? Qin Wanyin eagerly opened her chat with Ms. Tsin, only to realize that she didn't reply to her message at all. What's going on? Didn't she promise to take me to the socialites' tea party? Qin Wanyin panicked and hurriedly opened Weibo, only to be dumbfounded. What's going on with this trending topic? Not only were the top 5 trending topics dominated, but there were also other trending topics that almost filled the top 20 trending topics. What does it mean to be on the list? This is the vegetable picking mission was completed. Qin Wanyin followed Tianji and Ling Yi in a daze. When Tianji saw that Ling Yi was struggling, he suggested, Wanyin, help Ling Yi share some of the burden. Ling Yi declined. There's no need for that, Master. I still have the strength to do this. Qin Wanyin said, then I won't stand on ceremony with you. Netizens. Such a cute and pitiful little angel brother. You must be made of iron and blind to say such a thing, right? Coincidentally, they bumped into Sure Sui and Xiangxia on their way to Little Rabbit Farm. The two of them were driving a bumper car that no one knew where they got from. Sure Sui, who always wore high-end clothes and had an extraordinary bearing, was sitting in the bumper car with her long legs bent. She was slowly following behind Xiangxi's bumper car. He never seemed to mind doing childish things with Xiangxia. Xiangxia frowned when she saw Ling Yi panting. She jumped out of the car and walked over to Ling Yi. Give me the basket. Ling Yi subconsciously said, I'm a man, whoosh. Xiangxia didn't give him a chance to refuse. She easily picked up the basket with one hand and weighed it lightly. Little kid, don't carry such heavy things. You won't grow tall. She tossed the keys to Ling Yi. Drive it back. Ling Yi gulped. F***CK. It's over. He was really done for. Chapter 504. At the beginning, Ling Yi still wanted to play some tricks on Xiangxia, but now, he had completely restrained himself. Subconsciously, he felt that those filthy things shouldn't appear in front of Xiangxia. Qin Wanyin's voice sounded at an untimely moment. Xiangxia, why are you so nice to Ling Yi? For a moment, Tianji's expression was extremely sullen. No matter how much he admired Qin Wanyin's talent in playing the Suona, he couldn't tolerate her low EQ. Sure Sui stepped on the brakes of the bumper car and tapped the steering wheel lazily. His deep peach blossom eyes narrowed slightly behind his glasses as he stared at the girl. Xianxia said in a puzzled tone, "Isn't it natural for adults to take care of children? Besides, he's a child who's visiting my house." Qin Wanyan looked at Ling Yi, who was 180 centimeters tall, and sneered. "Him? He's a child? Minors are all children," Xianxia said. Ling Yi's heart suddenly warmed. Others might not understand Xiangxi's logic, but sure Sui did. Before she became an adult, she had always been treated like a child by her family. Growing up in an environment where she was doted on, she wouldn't hesitate to be nice to others. Because in her world, it was a matter of course. In a live stream, some netizens were getting restless. "I'll stand for 1 second. I'll stand for 1 second. Ling Yi is so obedient and nurturing in front of Sister E. I'm going to knock it out. Gentle Sister X, sickly brother, I love the redemption and healing type awe." Some netizens also suddenly realized something. "I suddenly understand why Sister E is so nice to the puppy. It turns out that she treats him like a child." After comparing the EQ of Xiangxia and Qin Wanyan, Tianji let out a long sigh. Well, no one is perfect. After all, Qin Wanyan was his little disciple. If she didn't understand, he could teach her slowly in the future. However, at this moment, Tianji suddenly had a trace of doubt in his heart. Why had he been so impulsive as to accept Qin Wanyan as his disciple? It wasn't that he hadn't seen any good seedlings in the past few years. However, after Qin Wanyan played her Swana that day, he seemed to have been bewitched. He made the decision on the spot and even broke his own rule of not accepting any disciples. How strange. Ling Yi sat on the bumper car and was somewhat eager to give it a try. However, when he saw the basket in the girl's hand, he hesitated. "Sister, can you carry something so heavy?" Xiangxia said, "I didn't take it." Qin Wanyan exclaimed, "Xiangxia, I don't mean to criticize you, but how could you let Shi Ingdi do such a thing?" Before she could finish her pretentious words, she saw Xiangxia take out her phone and fiddle with it. Soon, a cute robot drove out from a nearby room, dragging a small cart behind it. Xiangxia put the basket on it. The robot sang nursery rhymes and pulled the basket full of vegetables to the designated destination. Humans are the most amazing creatures on Earth. They retain their fire seeds and eat cooked food. They have evolved intelligence and learn to make and use tools. However, the most incredible thing is that they often choose not to use them. After Xiangxia finished speaking, she looked at Qin Wanyan and imitated Tianji's words. "I'm neither harsh nor malicious. I'm not hostile. I'm just expressing my literal meaning. I'm not sarcastic or hinting at anything. The above expression represents my personal opinion. I don't intend to cause a debate or encroach on public resources. Please forgive me for my inappropriate language." Qin Wanyan's face instantly turned the color of pig liver. What does Xiangxia mean? Is she mocking me for being brainless? Chapter 505. Hearing Xiangxi's words, the Spicy Tutu fans in the live stream were overjoyed. "Ha ha ha! Sister E is indeed you. You're so good at retorting. When it comes to the importance of studying, Sister E is so impressive, unlike me, who can say F*** everywhere." That's right, Qin Wanyan can totally get a tricycle or something to help her out. She's not doing any work, yet she's still mocking her. Is she here to be a guest or to be an ancestor? Qin Wanyan pondered for a long time and finally came up with a rebuttal. However, Xiang Yi didn't even look at her and simply walked towards Shi Sui's bumper car. She noticed that Shi Sui was driving a two-person bumper car. She didn't know if it was a coincidence or a necessity. "Handsome boy, can I hitch a ride?" The girl seemed calm and composed, but in fact, she was so shy that her fingertips were curled up. Shi Sui smiled and said, "Your Highness, please." Xiangyi's eyes curved into crescents as she lifted her skirt and bowed before getting into the bumper car. The interaction between the two was so natural and sweet that the netizens in the live stream, who were still in favor of the evil couple just a moment ago, had vividly demonstrated what it meant to be a traitor. F***CK. I'm dead. A bumper car is still a car, sisters. Boo-hoo. I'm so envious of this kind of interaction. Shi Sui's Sister Yi's way of getting along is so comfortable. Sure Sui started the car and placed his well-defined hands on the cartoon-like steering wheel. His fair and slender body was beautiful, and every screenshot was a benefit of his handheld control. Sister, Ling Yi murmured. Xianxia looked at him in confusion. Huh? The young man's skin was pale, and only his lips were red. He was so thin that he looked like he could be blown away by a gust of wind. However, a blazing light flickered in his amber eyes. However, everything was well hidden by Ling Yi. Sister, come back soon. I'll be good and wait for you. The young man tilted his head and smiled. Behind him was a gorgeous sea of flowers, a fountain flowing, and white pigeons flying in the air. It was as if an angel had descended to earth. It was like the cleanest and purest smile in the world. Many people were screaming in the bullet screen. My dear Wan, Grandma's brother is so cute. However, Xiangyi's response to Ling Yi was an indifferent, oh. Ling Yi, the young man's eyes drooped in desolation. His back was against the light, and his entire being sank into the shadows, making him appear even more lonely. Tianji sighed again. Why couldn't these two disciples of his let him be at ease? The four sufferings of life are greed, anger and infatuation, resentment and hatred, love and separation, and being unable to obtain. If this brat did not withdraw in time, he would suffer greatly. When Xiangyi saw the pitiful look on Ling Ye's face, her cherry lips moved. She wanted to tell him that there were snacks in the living room, but Sure Sui suddenly started the car and drove forward without looking back. The girl tilted her head. You're speeding. Sure Sui raises her eyebrows. Are there any traffic laws here? Yes. Xiangyi pointed at herself and said seriously, this is my home. I have the final say. Sure Sui slowed down the car. Xiangyi praised, that's a good boy. It's dangerous to drive too fast. When the untimely CP fans saw this scene, their hearts skipped a beat. Sister, you wouldn't treat Sure Sui as a child, would she? No. Wouldn't that become Sure Sui's one-sided love? The next second, Sure Sui chuckled softly and said leisurely, okay, Sister Xiangyi! Exclamation point. She widened her doe eyes and looked at Sure Sui in disbelief. The man's voice was tired and hoarse, and it fell into her red ears. Sister, I didn't know that you get shy so easily. Chapter 506. That last syllable was mellow and flirtatious, and it was even more magnetic after it was deliberately lowered. Xiangyi wasn't the only one who was stunned. The netizens watching the live stream went crazy. This man is so darn sweet. I'm inhaling oxygen. Oh my god, Xiangyi is so good at this. Damn it, I never thought that I would feel dizzy and my leg would turn to jelly just because he called me sister. This is worse than fake alcohol. Xiangyi pinched her palms. Her ears were already red, but she was still stubborn. How can you call me sister? You're clearly older than me. Can I call you sister just because I'm older than you? The man asked matter-of-factly. His low chuckle was like an electric current that bloomed like little flowers. Sister, do you think I'm old? Xiangyi was speechless. She took a deep breath and repeated it several times before finally calming down. I don't. You can call me whatever you want. The girl pretended to be calm and took out her cell phone. I'll ask Ling Yi and the rest what they want to eat tonight. She had forgotten that she had already blacklisted Ling Yi. However, Sure Sui had no idea that she had blacklisted him. He squinted his peach blossom eyes and turned the steering wheel. His low and hoarse voice sounded a little aggrieved. Am I not good enough? Why don't you ask me what I want to eat, sister? Xiangyi's hand trembled, and she almost dropped her cell phone. She swallowed her saliva and said, Don't call me sister, oh? But didn't you just say that I can call you whatever I want? Xiangyi suddenly felt that she had dug a hole, and she had jumped into it without thinking about her own safety. The blush spread from her ears to her milky, white, swan neck, standard square shoulders, and thin back. Xiangyi put on the hood of her coat as if she was trying to deceive herself. Then what do you want to eat? I want to eat, Sure Sui said lazily. Sister, the netizens watching the live stream were shocked. This is a magical couple. They're actually giving out love online. You want to eat, sister? What kind of words are these? After a while, Shui said slowly. Let me think. Don't think. I'll eat sister. Friendly reminder, tutus braised, spicy, and barbecue dishes are delicious. That's right, that's right. Eating in the study, eating on the windowsill, and eating in the kitchen is also delicious. For a moment, the bullet screen was filled with comments. The car was so fast that it was impossible to catch up with the car, even when it was drifting around a bend. To Xianxia, every time he called her sister, it was like a sniper had accurately hit her heart. Oh, the girl covered her face with her hands. She couldn't take it anymore. You take your time to think about it. I want to get out of the car and take a walk. You want to run away after getting in my car? Shui laughed. It's too late. Hearing this, the netizens expressed that today's sugar intake it's over the limit. The scene cut to the courtyard. Xianxia was so tired that he gasped for breath. He reached for the cup, but it was empty. Qin Wanyin pretended not to notice and continued to play with her phone. Xianxia wanted to say something, but he didn't say anything in the end. Ling Yi, on the other hand, got up and poured a glass of water for Xianxia. The bullet screen comments scolding Qin Wanyin flooded. Qin Wanyin's fans were indignant and brought up the topic of Xianxia's charity fraud again. Unfortunately, no one fell for their tricks this time. Some spicy tutu fans questioned, even if Sister E didn't do charity, did your Qin Wanyin do charity? Qin Wanyin's fans were not confident. Our immortal Qin isn't a fair-skinned, rich, and beautiful girl like Xianxia. Spicy tutu fans asked again, then did you do charity? Smile, Qin Wanyin's fans. I'm just an ordinary person. The netizens were dumbfounded. Isn't this a little too much? Chapter 507. We're both humans, so why does Xianxia have to do charity while Qin Wanyin has all kinds of excuses? The spicy tutu fans quickly found a loophole in the other party's words and retaliated. You're attacking Sister E because Sister E doesn't do charity, but what have you done? Sister E didn't steal, rob, or break the law. Her whole family is made of elites who rely on their own hands to earn money. It's fine if she doesn't want to donate. I'm dying of laughter. You guys are really good at using double standards. Sister E is still so diligent even though she's injured. What about your Qin Wanyin? She doesn't even give her master a sip of water. How awesome. Qin Wanyin's fans gradually lost the upper hand. In the living room, Qin Wanyin anxiously waited for Ms. Sin's reply, but to no avail. Instead, as soon as she opened Weibo, she was flooded with negative comments about her. Qin Wanyin was dumbfounded. Why are all the netizens scolding me? When she saw the comments that said she had no EQ, was lazy, and that her fans were annoying, Qin Wanyin panicked. She had participated in 2 under 1 roof, to gain more fans, not to lose them. All right, Xianxia's donation fraud. Her eyes darted around, wanting to continue making a fuss about this matter. Hence, she pretended to slip and like the Spring Flower Foundation's Weibo post stating that Xianxia didn't donate. However, at the same time, a user named Splendid Xianxia posted a long post on Weibo that went viral. Splendid Xianxia, today I saw Sister Xianxia getting scolded for a donation fraud. I want to watch the live stream and Sister E didn't say that she donated money. I don't know why it was misinterpreted. Sister Xianxia is really a very nice person. The primary school in our mountain village was built by her with donations a few years ago. The school is very clean and beautiful. She's really a very considerate and warm person. Not only did she build the school, but she also provides 3 meals a day for free. Those who have never experienced hunger might not be able to understand how blissful it is to have a full meal for the first time. The school's washroom also provided free toilet paper and sanitary napkins for the girls to use. I'm really grateful. If it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have been able to use sanitary pads every month and could only use paper pads. I used to think that menstruation was a shameful and expensive thing. It's no exaggeration to say that it was Sister Xianxia who gave me dignity. I want to say that she has really done a lot. She has done very well. He hoped that there would be more kindness, more gentleness, and more beauty in this world. Just like an elder sister. Not only was this Weibo post simple and touching, but there were also pictures attached. The buildings in the photo, although not as luxurious as the city, were clean and beautiful. In the washroom, there were female products. Although they were just ordinary brands, they were enough to solve some of the girls' problems. At first, it was Spicy Tutu fans who reposted, commented, and liked the post. But as it gained popularity, more and more people were surprised to find out that Xianxia had not faked the donation. Instead, she had really done charity. With the first person who bravely spoke out, more and more people who had been helped by Xianxia came forward. In the end, the netizens did an incomplete count and found that Xianxia and the Xiang family had donated to dozens of primary schools, orphanages, and public health organizations. After conversion, the amount spent on charity each year was an astronomical figure. However, the Xiang family had never publicized it. The tables had turned. The entire internet was in an uproar.